Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next few hours, along with Mike.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Hope you are.
I am.
Good. And Bruce is here.
Java.
Java. Da,
Yeah.
da, 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 da. Java. Da, 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 da.
Mike's impressed, I can tell.
What is that song, Mike? Yep. Ba-da-ba-da. Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is being brought to you by that VidBlaster guy, Tom Sinclair, at www.thatvidblasterguy.com. Spence is still not on Skype. Spence is recovering from his surgery. So I didn't talk to him yesterday, so I don't know if he's going to. I think, knowing Spence, he'll probably be here, but it may be a little bit later. But that's all right. Really?
Hey, you gotta love technology. I've not been a big fan of UFC, although I have some friends that are rabid fans of UFC, the fighting thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like boxing every once in a while, but so we were, a bunch of us was on a Google Hangout last night, and because I've got a tuner card, I was able to capture and stream in the Hangout the FX, the Fox channel, and the preliminary fights. And then, of course, at 10 o'clock, it went pay for view. And I thought, let me see if I can find a live stream of the pay-per-view light heavyweight championship bout. And Google is your friend, and somebody was live streaming from ESPN HD UK. And so we were able to continue enjoying the fight until the final, which was a TKO in the first round. You got to be frustrated. Imagine pay-per-view on a fight, and then it's all over before one round is done.
So you are a, so to speak, fan.
Well, I enjoy it. I'm learning more about it, A lot of guys get their eyes poked. That's how that fight ended. This guy got, their gloves don't have covers for their fingers, and it was an accidental poke. So, but man, this particular thing, this championship fight, the guy's eye was bleeding and everything. But thankful for the person in the UK who provided the live stream.
You've got to think about how hard that is to police.
Yeah.
You can't check it in advance. You can only check it in real time. You have to scour the world all at once to find out who is restreaming the paid stream.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to kind of kill pay-per-view in many ways, isn't it? I mean, if you think about it, you put a group of people together who like the same thing and say, yeah, this thing is, $50, whatever a pay-per-view is. And so what we'll all do is we'll all kick in $5, and then we'll stream it on this private IP address that's not searchable. Mm-hmm. It's like Andrew says, the pay-per-view model is broken. Oh, darn.
So, and we can't fix it?
How are you going to fix it?
We can fix anything with crazy glue and duct tape.
That's true. Especially the duct tape.
Ba-da-ba-dum. So let's see what's been happening this week. Like Nick said Friday night, it's been a slow tick week. Something that's going to affect all of us. On March 22nd, the Senate approved a non-binding proposal to allow states to tax online sales to residents outside their state. That vote was a trial balloon to gauge the support for the Marketplace Fairness Act. This week, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid filed a cloture? What's the word?
Cloture.
Cloture. To allow the law to be voted on for real this time. The vote may occur as soon as tomorrow. This is from last week. eBay is attempting to rally Americans against the bill via a massive email campaign. I still didn't read anything anywhere how they're going to handle those taxes. Because that means that each vendor is going to have some type of software that would say, okay, so they are in this state, you collect that much, and since they are in this county, then you add this much. So altogether, it's like that. I mean, like we here in Raleigh, we pay what now? 7.5%? 7. This is not. This is a combination of two, state and county, and this is a nightmare for people selling online. And then these people will have to forward the money to the appropriate state. Because I just can't see Andrew sitting in New York selling something, collecting tax from me, and keeping that. It's easy to say, okay, yes, charge tax, but there's so much that has to go behind the scenes. It's enough when you just in your own state and you selling all over the state, and you have to have different tables to know who to charge what.
Well, I wonder if your shopping carts on your websites will have to have that functionality built in. I mean, I don't know. I don't.
That's easy, but there's a lot of people over, like let's say on eBay. There's no shopping cart that does calculations like this. I mean, you buy something for $5 and they say, okay, if you're a resident of California, you pay that much tax. Now they're going to have to add, and then now who is collecting the tax? Is it eBay that's collecting it? Or is it the individual seller on eBay who is the vendor that is collecting it? We don't know.
Yeah, well, aren't businesses making less than $1 million a year exempt from?
Yes,
what I've heard.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
Boy, I'm glad I was almost at that level.
Just squeaked by, huh?
Well, I mean, where is that money better spent? In your pocket or the government's pocket? You need to get with the program, realize the government knows where that money should go. The sad part is, in all seriousness, and this is, take it or leave it, but the government is on a money addiction. There is no amount of money that will ever satisfy the government. If they are taking 100% of your money, that would not be enough.
Then they put tax on top of it and collect that from you too.
Yeah, and then they have the nerve to do stuff like I posted about earlier in the week, try to exempt congressmen and their staffs, which brings up people up into the thousands, make them exempt from the Obamacare healthcare atrocity.
Are you serious?
Didn't it pass?
I don't know if it's passed or not.
I mean, that to me, that's axiomatic. They automatically exempt themselves from everything. That's pure royalty if you get into Congress. Lifetime royalty. I mean, you go in and they said that the most stupid member of Congress was Joe Biden because he went in and after all those years, his net worth was only about $1 million when most of them go in worth nothing and come out worth many, many millions.
Why would they want to be exempt? It's such a great thing.
Well, because they don't want to tax the system for those who really need it.
Yeah, it's a train wreck. Even Senator Baugh from Montana was commenting about that this week. It is I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any stretch of the imaginations, but there's been not any doubt in my mind since I work in the healthcare that a lot of this is on purpose. It's all these state exchanges that are supposed to be ready by October, no way they'll be ready. People don't have any idea about these gold, silver, and bronze plans and how people on bronze plans who get the subsidy are going to have a 60-40 plan. I mean, it's a disaster, and it's all designed to push us toward a single-payer system. And when that happens, we're done. But anyway, technology gives us the opportunity, just like we're doing right now, to share thoughts and opinions on things and have some dialogue. So, but yeah, it's quite interesting, that internet tax thing. It's not a done deal, though.
Oh, I think it is.
I don't know.
Do you believe the president when he says he would veto it?
A tax? Were you joking?
Well, I mean, I was just asking you the question. Do you believe?
I mean, he told me in 2008 that if he got elected, there'd be no new taxes.
Yeah.
I guess he wasn't. Well, we don't get political yet.
And he got reelected.
Well, just goes to show.
Well, at least CISPA's stalled for now.
You can't fix ugly or stupid.
Steve is not here, is he? No.
I don't know. You're running the controls.
No, I'm not. No, in chat, I don't see him. Oh, he's not. Definitely not on.
Don't you feel bad for Mark Zuckerberg this week? He's joined the $1 a year salary crowd.
I hope he can get by. I've got an extra 20% off at Bed Bath & Beyond if he needs it.
This story on Mashal, in last year when they went public, he exercised $60 million stock options worth, at that time, $2.3 billion. And he sold half of it to cover his tax bill, poor guy. And he's still sitting on the other 80 or 60 million stock options that can be exercised November 7th for the same dirt cheap price of, are you ready for this? 6 cents. So now he's living on $1. He's got $1, and of course he's not living on $1 a year, but you got to feel bad for the guy, right?
Well, should we take up a collection?
We could. Trying to think about. We can do a rummage sale. Now, I'll put this on the block first. This is an ancient M Audio Fast Track, and you can put that RAM you found in your drawer.
What is that?
That's an M Audio Fast Track, not the Fast Track Pro. This is the original one. This was an interface for mixing guitar and vocals. So you can put an XLR microphone and guitar in the back, and there you go. See, we got two things on the floor.
This is $40, brand new.
Wow.
What memory is this, Mike?
What? It's a DDR2.
Oh.
I just found it laying around, brand new, never been opened. I look it up, it's $40. Yeah, Doug's got a good idea. We can run. I guess we could put it on Facebook, right? Do our fundraiser on Facebook.
We can.
So we can reach more people.
Sure. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, everybody. I don't really know if I ought to call in now. As soon as I came onto the page, it was like, yeah, some people are just stupid or ugly. And then you said, "Has anyone seen Steve?"
Oh, come on.
I was thinking, hey, hang on a minute. Was I supposed to hear this?
Well, we were
right
thinking
after,
about
and I'm
you,
thinking,
but-
hang on, they must have a monitor around here somewhere because I've literally just come onto the page.
Well, we're thinking about you, but in a different context. We were actually echoing words we may have heard you say at some point.
Okay, what being ugly and stupid? Absolutely right, yes.
Okay. Now about others.
It must have been my cue then.
There you go. It's your cue to call in and win.
Yeah, I can believe it. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you.
Cheerio.
Hello, Steve. I have a question for you.
Really, let me just change over speaker so I can actually hear you properly through my earphone thing.
Do you wear skinny jeans?
I used to. Many years ago, I would wear fashionable when I could get it. But generally, when you're 6'7", you aren't able to get fashion stuff.
Okay. I was just noticing one of the companies that makes skinny jeans come out with these IO jeans. They come in a wide range of styles, and it's got a pocket between the regular pocket and the knee designed to hold any smartphone that has a 4.8-inch screen or smaller. It's kind of a bummer since my Note 2 is bigger than that. But, of course, I don't wear skinny jeans either. But
no, I think once you get to sort of 40 and above, I think skinny jeans would most people would look at you, point and laugh. But they have got those cargo pants, as they call them over here, which which have got side pockets and multiple pockets all over it.
Fine in those, yeah.
No, I've never got into that. In fact, I hadn't worn jeans for many, many years. I think I just started wearing jeans again when I was about 42, because I thought, well, I'll get a pair for knocking about. And it was like, why did I stop wearing jeans all those years ago? These are so comfortable.
Yeah.
And now you can't get me out of them.
Andrew's comment in the chat, he says he wears skinny jeans, and he said, is that a smartphone in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
You're just pleased to see me. Is my audio coming through okay today? I'm using the USB side of the ATR 2100 USB from...
It is 5x5.
Awesome. Because I can't really hear it personally, and it's barely moving the needle on the
computer,
on the sound monitor. Green jobbies.
Jobbies?
It is perfectly fine here.
Awesome.
So, anyway, the BBC reports that 2 Twitter accounts belonging to CBS News have been suspended after they were compromised on Saturday afternoon. From the article, fake messages appearing on the 60 Minutes account criticize U.S. support for terrorist rebels in Syria, and others accused Barack Obama of trying to take away your guns. A group calling itself the Syrian Electronic Army claimed to have been responsible for hijacking the accounts. A lot is happening with Twitter. First, the beginning of the week, what was it?
AP.
AP.
It caused stocks to drop 145 points.
So I guess we are probably sending arms to Syria because they probably have computers and cell phones and stuff like that. And if it's the Syrian Electronic Army...
Yep, I dare say you'll be teaching them how to use them as well, just so they can, get back at you in a few years' time, as normally happens.
Just give them some time. Yep, exactly.
A bit of training and everything else. So you make a fortune, go and show them how to use it, and then they use it against you in a few years to come.
When you said that... when you said that Syrian... What army? Syrian what? Electronic Army?
Yeah, Syrian Electronic Army.
I started thinking about all these different electronic armies in the world. The Syrian Electronic Army, and the Iraqi Electronic Army, and the Israeli Electronic Army, and the Chechnya Electronic Army, and the U.S. The fact of the matter is that these are not going to be national entities in this, battle with technology, which I believe is going to have a lot to do with future warfare. It's going to be, the highest bidder. I mean, there are going to be countries, there are going to be people out there who are extremely talented and skilled, it's just my opinion, who are going to market their services, and they'll work for the country that will pay them the most.
Sure.
And there won't be, it could be anybody working for anybody's, group.
I'm sure that things like that are already being done. I don't know. Future is today.
Yeah. So, Mike, I'm assuming that microphone you're using is a condenser microphone.
It is.
Yeah.
And why would you assume that?
Well, when you said Audio-Technica AT2020, and of course then you mentioned Plus, I know the regular AT2020s, they're all condenser microphones and everything. So, but it's a nice looking mic.
It does have a good look to it. In fact, it's really funny because if you turn it that way, it looks like a PR40.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work like a PR40.
Right. It's a side address, right?
It is a side address microphone.
Mm-hmm.
I
Excellent.
can't see anything apart from Bruce at the moment.
Oh, really? Did you get the camera
Because
stuff?
Amnon hasn't switched.
I'm sorry. I was reading.
supposed-
Here, Mike, show him.
I was
show him,
trying
show
to
him.
imagine it while you were describing it,
Yeah, I
Bruce,
know,
but
I'm
it's
sorry.
difficult when you're
Just for you, Steve, I'm
looking
gonna
at
do
your
it again.
handsome face like that.
You notice that I'm talking into the side of it, which is proper and correct. But if you turn it this way, it looks an awful lot like a PR40. If I had my PR40 here with me, I would show it to you side by side to show you how much it really does look like it. But unfortunately, I don't have it here at the moment.
It does very well picking up from the front or the side.
It's a condenser. It picks up everything.
Awesome. A bit like the one that Amnon is showing us now. If you look at your screen, everybody, you can see that Amnon's hiding behind it.
That's his.
All right. Well, there you are. So if you just hold that image in your mind and then switch back to Mike, and we can all know exactly. There you are, you see. Mirror image.
So they do favor each other.
Oh.
So
And that's
what
a 2020 plus, you say?
Yes.
So what happens when I'm talking to the side of it?
Where's Amnon?
It sounds like it's rattling around the edges. Very crackly and bleh.
Hey, Mike, can you can you see through it?
Yeah.
It looks like it should be a real cheap microphone because it doesn't have much material to it. It's mostly screen. If that's what you went by.
Well, okay.
Huh?
Actually, I didn't buy it.
You
So let
testing
us
it?
know when you figure out what the plus is for.
Well, I know what the plus is for. It has built-in headphones, and it has unlike the ATR 2100, the headphone amplifier built into this thing is quite robust.
Hmm.
I think I'm telling the truth here. I'll play with it while you guys are.
No, we want to see you playing with it. I want to see sparks.
So, I have to now go into Skype and change audio settings to make the speaker the AT2020, which I have now done. So I'm now listening to you guys through the headphones. But I can also, unlike other USB microphones, most of them, I can now hear myself as well as hearing you.
Now, do they have a volume control on that that's a rocker, or what is it? A different type of a volume control for that head?
It is a regular, normal volume control.
Oh, okay, nice.
And what the real benefit of the way, it actually has two controls. One adjusts the overall volume, and when you crank it all the way up, if this is not loud enough, you need other tools as well. But when you crank the volume, you get the volume set right. Actually, I think the way you do it is, Bruce, if you would count to 5, let me get the level set here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, now what I have done is I have set the level on you through my headphones.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have a second control over here that I adjust how much of me I want to hear coming back through the headphones as well.
Well, that's nice.
It's a ratio.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, normally my audio is going to be louder than yours. Mm-hmm. So the ratio, and go ahead and count to 5 again. Let me test one other thing here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right. Now, it is a ratio, and that is that once I get the ratio set, I may have to adjust the volume control over here again. The two are interdependent.
Okay. Very nice.
Andrew says I stole it. I actually got it to replace my PR40.
There's more to that story?
Yes.
Does it have a mix minus built in?
No, you don't need it because you're not sending the mixer back through it.
Boy, I just had to say something. It's got to have something. How much do they cost?
Have no idea.
I don't see the Plus anywhere on the web. Is it one they made specially for you?
Not quite. It is brand new, though.
Okay. I see the 2020s out there with USB, but I looked for a Plus and can't see it anywhere.
I thought it was. I thought
not
I
in the
had seen
UK.
it.
Mind you, then this one's not available in the UK either.
Well, let's see what we have here.
Let's have a look. ATR 2020.
2020 USB Plus.
Nope.
Yep, there it is. Manufacturer's suggested retail price $279.
Sorry. Well, even on Audio Technica's site, it doesn't show the Plus, and it shows the 2020.
They're checking that link in chat.
Thank you. I'm not sure. It's because I'm in England, isn't it? It's a little island. They don't care about us.
Yeah, so well, free healthcare.
It's ridiculous. Why isn't that showing for the UK then? Stupid.
Maybe it's not available there yet.
Probably.
What is interesting about it, from a technical perspective, is that the sample rate is either 44.1 or 48 kilohertz. And what that means is that if you're going to do audio for video, you need to be using 48 kilohertz. Regular recording studio audio is normally, or has been for years, 44.1 kilohertz. It works either one. I don't know how you switch between the two. I haven't played with it long enough to know. And another thing, too, that I haven't checked with is this, since it's brand new, it may have better compatibility with things like iPads. That may be part of the plus, because a lot of people want to connect USB directly to these Apple thingies.
You mean the iPad comes with the USB port?
I thought it did. A lot of people like to connect microphones to iPads.
You have to use a dongle to do that on the iPad. Yeah, it's $169 on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they never go with that maximum price.
And see, because it's so new, nobody's rated it yet. So
I would stay tuned to this site because I have become an approved reviewer.
Okay.
It's a good company. They do a lot of good things. The microphones are, people look at them and think that they are expensive, but they're really reasonably priced. And Gary likes the PR40 better. Well, it's twice the price too. And this is a condenser microphone. If you're listening to the show through headphones, you're hearing a whole lot more background noise from me than you would normally hear because I've got about 28 computers running here. And the condenser microphone really picks it up. There's nothing wrong with the sound of a condenser microphone. They work great. They have a great sound in a recording studio. It's probably more often than not would be the one that you would choose for your voice. And in fact, there's actually a brand new multi-million-dollar recording studio in Pittsboro, North Carolina. I've been trying to make a connection over there because I thought it would be a wonderful thing to do to go over there to take some microphones and do some quick A/B testing with some of mine and some of theirs, but I can't seem to get them to respond to emails. They're kind of snooty at the moment.
Mike, do you hear the big fan running over here now?
Yeah, maybe it's you making the noise.
I mean, you hear it only when I talk, right?
Nope, hear it all the time, but maybe it's me. Let me mute me and see. Hold on. Did you turn it off?
No.
Well, it's not as loud as it was.
Oh,
Now it's coming back up.
I just realized I forgot to turn off that squirrel cage on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I can hear something now. I don't know if it's you or me. Oh, well.
I turned it off.
Well, I wouldn't get too hot.
How is Spence, by the way, guys? Did he get on okay last week?
Yes,
Or
I
this
talked
week?
to him Thursday, and he was fine. I think he's going to be here later.
Okay, good
Because
news.
he was getting ready to go outside and take a walk, so I think he's doing
Okay.
pretty good.
Pretty good. Thanks for that.
So getting back to this microphone, I would think that if, for example, remember condenser microphones get a bad rap because they pick up everything, and most internet broadcasters and podcasters do not have million-dollar studios available to them with optimum acoustics, meaning that the microphone can create a lot of issues because it picks up everything like it's supposed to do. That being said, I can see where this microphone might be very handy, for example, on a conference room table. If you wanted to record a conference or a meeting or something and you did not want to have a microphone directly in front of someone's face like this one is in front of mine, then a condenser microphone that picks up everything would be a better choice than a very narrowed pattern close pickup mic like the ATR 2100 AT2005 SM58 sort of thing, in particularly the PR40, which is very directional. Those you have to point directly at the person's mouth. I mean, I can back this thing up, and there's so much noise in here. Let's see here. There's so much noise here in the room that it's not going to sound very good, but it'll still pick up, and it'll pick up a little broader range than, again, one of these directional mics would. And a lot of conference rooms in a corporate environment have some pretty decent acoustics because they are now increasingly being designed for audiovisual purposes.
I don't hear any noise. I mean, I'm cranking the volume way up here on the speakers.
Noise on who? You or me?
You.
Well, but listen how hollow it sounds as the more I move away.
Yeah, I understand. But you are saying that there's so much noise that it's going to pick it up. It's
well,
not.
listen to this.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
picking up your keyboard typing, but there's
Yeah.
very little what I would call ambient noise coming. You're saying you've got a lot of computers running, but it
Right.
isn't apparent, really.
Interesting.
I mean, if
Speaking
I
of
was at that
keyboard.
mic here, you would be hearing from the fan blowing away, your chair creaking.
I'm sorry, do that again, please. Okay, got it.
And speaking of keyboard typing, Google Hangouts came out with a new feature where it recognizes when you're typing on your keyboard and automatically mutes your mic. As soon
Oh,
as
you
you
said
stop
this last
typing, it
week, yeah.
unmutes it.
Have you tried it? Does it work okay?
Yeah, it works fine.
You don't have any choice but to try it.
Oh, right. There's not a switch-off facility. What
I
happens
don't
if you
know
wanted
for-
to type while you were speaking, for instance? Or let me just find you that link. It was at some
Too
blah,
bad.
blah, blah.
Too bad.
Tough, is it? Okay, suck it up. I would sooner, to be honest, hang on a second, I'll just find that link for you and then, have it mute, rather than having
Yeah.
clickety-clickety-click, because some people are very rude.
All right. And several of us can't talk and type at the same time anyway, so.
It's as much as I can do to breathe in and out and speak and think. And,
Well, with practice.
yeah.
You know, my team and I were talking about this. Of course, we use voice over IP, and if, at the home office, you have to use a headset, a regular, RJ11 type headset. But out in the field where my team works, we VPN in, we use Cisco IP Communicator. We can actually play and listen to music in the background, and the customer that we're talking to never hears it. So unless you really have problems multitasking, I mean, I used to love doing homework while music was playing in the background, never bothered me. but you could actually, have a little bit of Pandora playing lightly in the background, kind of keeping you calm when you're talking to an angry customer, and so.
How many people put George Carlin instead of music?
I doubt any.
The problem with that is if you are going to use it for a commercial means in any way, shape, or form, you don't use it. Otherwise, you'll have the recording company saying, "Oh, I could possibly just hear my track in the background. We're going to sue you for copyright, you nasty people." Like children dancing to a song in the background from Prince that got pulled off of YouTube and been going through court for years. Sorry, you got on the copyright again. Carry on.
No, it's fine. Bruce, you travel a lot.
I do.
And you drive a lot.
Well,
so you have a hotspot, right?
You tried cream?
I mean, I have some places I go that have free Wi-Fi. Is that what you're talking? I don't have a hotspot on my car.
Oh, no, I mean, I'm talking about... Oh, okay. Well, anyway. Listen to this. So maybe you should buy the latest issue of Forbes magazine. Microsoft is putting in real Wi-Fi hardware hotspots inside some copies of the latest issues of Forbes magazine. The unique Office 365 promotion was revealed in a post on the slickdeals.net message board. The Wi-Fi router, when activated, offers 15 days of free Wi-Fi service via T-Mobile network on up to 5 devices at once. So they had a picture of it, and it's like it's an image in the magazine, but it's really a Wi-Fi router.
This takes scratch and sniff to a whole new level.
Is it?
Bada boom.
But it's interesting. I remember when they were talking about electronic articles within a magazine. And so how are they going to do that? But here.
So, Mike Allen asked a question, since you're the only one here I know that has a Mac. He has a family member whose Mac is muted, and they can't access a way to unmute it, and all the controls and the menus are grayed out. Would you have a suggestion?
Get a PC.
I was just going to say the same thing.
I'm not familiar with Macs, but does it not have some kind of function key that is on, with F4 as well, that might be a mute-unmute?
What's muted? Is it an external mic? Is it the internal mic? I don't know what's muted and what application is she trying to use, because we had one of our guys on Rick's house who uses a Mac. He bought an ATR 2100. One of the disadvantages of the ATR 21, or not that, with any USB microphone, is that you don't have the mixer slider to mute your the microphone if you need to blow your nose like I just did. Well, it turns out that with Skype, you can not only, with Mac and PC, you can go in and mute it with the mouse or keyboard, but you can also map a key sequence to cause it to mute. I have Alt-M muted on mine, so when I count to 5, you're going to not hear every number because I'm going to mute during it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can mute it to get around it. Now, as far as her speakers, not being able to unmute her speakers, I don't know anything about Macs, but I would assume that if she can't unmute her speakers, she probably has a driver installation error. I know it's a Mac, and I know they always just work, but I would look at finding out whether the speaker driver is installed properly. Maybe you uninstall it and reinstall it. I don't know. Maybe you go see one of these geniuses who can help you. But, I mean, I really don't know much about a Mac. I mean, they just work.
The only thing I would suggest is, excuse me, if you don't have a mute button, as it were, or anywhere to click on mute, have a look on the media player that is normally used and see if there is a mute button on that software that you may be able to check or uncheck for the speakers.
Now, that key mapping solution, is that specifically for when you're using Skype?
The key mapping I'm talking about is in Skype, although I think you can do the same thing in Windows.
Yeah, it'd be a great way if you could alt-mute the Audio Technica when I'm traveling to mute the mic instead of having to use the switch for the very reason you mentioned, a cough or whatever.
Through Skype?
No, through some other audio program that I'm recording in Audacity, my podcast.
Well, you certainly can mute through Audacity. I'm pretty sure you just kill the audio level. I think there may be a mute in Audacity. As to whether you can map a key to that, I don't know. I mean, theoretically, under those circumstances, you could just leave it open and leave the mouse pointing to the mute button.
Right.
Alan says that the problem occurred when she installed a scanner, which even more so tells me that there is a driver conflict. So if you uninstall the driver for the speaker and reinstall it, maybe it'll start working and kill the scanner. Or maybe it'll just work. No avail. Well, if all else fails, I would go see the geniuses at the Apple Bar. They don't have anything to do because Macs don't break, but it's kind of like the Maytag repairman. They were desperate for people to come spend time with them. It's job security. And like Jeff says, Alan, did she try uninstalling the scanner? But those are the conventional things that you would do to try to solve that problem. Windows Skeptic says, we have 6 months under our belt. What do we think about Windows?
Yeah, Windows 8.
Windows 8. And I don't know. Bruce is the Windows 8 person here. What do you think?
Oh, man. I use it. I like it. I don't have any problems with it. We've said this a number of times before. It looks like there are rumors that Windows Blue, when it comes out, will have the opportunity to boot to desktop and have a start menu option with it. That would really, really be nice. That's where they really missed the boat here. So I use and installed on my wife's new laptop the Star 8 product, which restores the start menu and boots it directly to desktop, bypassing the tiles. It is interesting, though, that StarDock, the company who creates Star 8, has come out with another program, can't remember what the name of it is right now, that will allow you to run Windows 8 programs not in that nasty full screen mode. Nobody likes that. If you do find a Windows 8 app that you like for instance, I happen to like the Bank of America app. I'm a Bank of America customer, but I don't like the fact that it occupies the whole screen, and I use dual monitors. I don't like the fact that I can't push it to another monitor. But StarDock has a program now that will allow you to run these Windows 8 apps in a regular window that you can resize and slide from one screen to another. So it's a good operating system, but they messed up, in my opinion, in trying to force people to this new Metro UI and away from the familiar and comfortable start menu.
And the new one is called Windows Blows?
Windows Blue.
Blue, past tense.
Yeah.
Well,
the program that does that for the apps is called Modern Mix.
Modern Mix, thank you.
I've got Windows 8 on the laptop, the one that I've got recently, and although I don't use it, I do go into it occasionally on Windows 8, boot into it and play around. The only thing that gets me with it is the edge controls on the mouse pad, because there's no definitive edge around the pad. It's just built into the wrist rest. There's just little dots that you can feel on the Lenovo, so it's not as prominent, if you like, and as it's slightly offset as well. It takes a little bit getting used to, but I would say it's much faster on booting. It's much more responsive, seems more stable. I love the copy facility on Windows 8. It's absolutely brilliant. The control panel has loads more things in it. It's just a much better operating system that runs a lot more efficiently. The only quirk to it, I would say, is that it boots to the tiles, which can be annoying, but like Bruce says, you can get around that. And by the looks of it, when Blue comes out, there's 3 very good. Normally, people that predict things that are coming from Microsoft that are out there in the web world that are saying that it looks like they're going to have a boot to desktop option in that. So it looks like Microsoft have listened to users and taken on board the complaints that they've had, which is great. I think they just tried pushing a touch interface operating system on the public when there wasn't enough touch interfaces out there. I think it's designed more for, if you like, a portable type product as well as a desktop. I can see the reasoning for doing it, but I think they were a little too forceful.
Yeah, I'm interested in the rest of the panel's observation on Windows skeptics' question. I think it's a good question. I mean, we're not, as I mentioned, I mean, Mike's the only one that owns a Mac here, and obviously Apple has made the decision to move toward having a more closed system to get your apps from an app store. Obviously, in the iOS phone realm, there's an app store. For Google, there's Android, there's Google Play. But his question is interesting about, do you think one of the things of Windows 8 is to move everybody to a more closed system like a Windows App Store where the only place you can get apps is from Windows? Of course, we know that will never be. It's not that way now. There's tons of ways you can get apps for all of the operating systems and companies I just mentioned outside of their app stores. But what do you think?
I think it'll be a good idea.
I think they've lost their way, haven't they, to a degree, and they've lost a lot of market to Linux, and they're basically trying to scrabble it, trying to claw back some of that, and nobody's being particularly innovative at the moment. So I think in order to be in with a chance, they're looking to say, what are the other people doing that we aren't, that we can, to a degree, copy or emulate, that'll bring us back some of the market. And having a closed system, Apple's proved that works. Maybe they're just trying it. Who knows? It's like normally they have the release schedule is quite a large, large time frame between each one. That's why they're bringing in the updates like they are now with Blue coming soon. So it looks like they're all moving to a business model that everybody else has made a success of.
Good morning, Nick. Nick?
Hello.
Oh, there you are.
Hello, Nick.
How's everybody doing?
Fine. How are you doing?
Doing fine. Now, there are 3 reasons I've heard people talk about the benefit of App Store. One is purely financial because the Windows and Apples would get a cut of the apps that are sold there. 2 is security. Want to make sure that the apps are properly vetted. And then the third is, just trying to kind of keep this clean, unified type experience. Are there any other reasons you think would be possible for wanting to have this type of a model?
I don't know why you'd want that type of model. Because I think then you deter people from making software when you have that kind of model.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. It didn't hurt Apple.
Well, they're very particular in what they allow onto their products, aren't they? They're very particular, yes. And like they don't allow anything to do with BitTorrent, as an example. Anything they deem to be, when we don't know whether we should allow our users to have this kind of thing. It is a little bit like censorship in some instances.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, and that's where the issue is now that they control what you can and can't download. You no longer have control of that, so you're at their mercy. If they personally don't let the app in the store, then you really can't do much about it.
Can you not download from other places on iOS?
No.
If you jailbreak.
If you jailbreak, yeah.
But then, that was legal. I think it's just been made illegal now, isn't it? Although, is that being changed? It's flip-flopping all over the place.
Not jailbreaking is still legal. It's rooting that they have a problem with.
Okay.
Unlocking, excuse me.
So it's not your device really when you buy it. You give them all that money. It's not really yours because they tell you what you can and can't do with it. A bit like when you're driving your car, they say you can't, go over the speed limit, and no one would ever dream of doing such a thing.
I mean, the positive thing about this is that you all but not have to worry about viruses or malware.
That's not true.
It's not?
No,
It's not
because
much fun either.
If you looked at there was the article a few weeks ago about the Google Play Store,
Yeah.
where these group of people made an app, and it sat in Google Play for about 6 months. Then they decided, all right, it's time to go malicious with this software, and then pushed an update to it that it installed malware on your phone. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there really is no way to stop the viruses, because then the developers they're just too smart, and they'll find their way around it.
The problem for developers and not going through the default app stores is financial. While there have been some semi-success stories like Cydia or Cydia, as some pronounce it, and it's been so long since I've had an Apple phone. But I was always jailbroke, and there were a lot of apps that I got from Cydia because you couldn't get them anyplace else. And then there were some apps that became so popular on Cydia that Apple finally opened the door and decided to let them into their store as well. But that's the whole deal. If you're a developer, you have to have a good marketplace if you're going to make money. And there's really no better marketplace than the default app stores for these companies. But it's interesting when you Google it, you'll find all kinds of links for alternative app stores for all these things. So,
yeah, I mean, Amazon has theirs,
right?
I mean, if the apps are all going to be vetted so that they're, guaranteed malware free and what have you before they're made available to the public, great. That makes a lot more security for people that aren't security conscious. They should be reasonably safe because they've been vetted beforehand. But it's frustrating for the people that do know what they're doing, that do know exactly what they want, and know that for a fact that it's out there, but they haven't deemed it suitable for going on their app store, which is then really infuriating because you need to jump through hoops in order to get what it is that is there that you want.
Yeah, if they're not going to make it easy for people to post it there.
But then I suppose if you know that sort of thing, you probably would have jailbreaked it anyway, or jailbrooked, whatever. You'd have busted it.
Busted.
How does a microphone sound? Do you hear any buzzing in it?
Not as good as normal.
It shouldn't.
Is it still the ATR-21?
Yeah, but it's connected through USB.
Well, mine's connected through USB today as well.
Sounds fine.
What's wrong with connecting through USB?
Oh, nothing. It's just I have no audio control or anything through it.
That's one of the reasons. The other one is it never seems to be as loud, and the monitoring. If you want to listen to it, never seems to come back as good
I'm
as
still
it was.
monitoring through my mixer, but I've given up with or at least right now with the whole audio thing. So
I would say you don't sound as rich as you would normally do. I know you're called Nick, but you know what I mean.
Which now makes me wonder whether you have the bass control cranked up on your mixer.
For the microphone?
Yes.
Everything's at 12 o'clock.
It doesn't sound as full to me. Does it to you, Mike? Does he sound a little bit sort of lacking on the deeper end?
He sounds a little off axis to me.
I'm talking into the mic just like I normally would.
Yeah, then it's probably a Skype thing.
Gosh damn tootin' Skype.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see as time goes on whether it works itself out.
Well, you sound fine, Nick, but it's just, I would say, a little discrepancy from normal.
I'm glad there's no buzzing or humming in it, though.
No, sounds good.
No.
Some of the sound utilities on some of the computers have that bass boost.
Yeah.
Did you play with that?
Oh, for
the
this
microphone. For the microphone.
No, I haven't played with it.
Well, you need to see if it's set up one way or another.
Yeah, you don't want any bass boost. This idea about people going out and spending big for, say, an Audio Technica, or a Howe PR40, like I used to have, and bringing it home, spend $325 for a microphone, bring it home, get it all set up, and then start adjusting the equalization controls on it, to me is the same as going to a car dealership, ordering the car you want in exactly the right color, and then when you get it home, start painting over it with tempera to make sure that the color is what you really wanted. It makes no sense to me at all. If you don't like the sound of the microphone, get a different one.
Yeah.
Don't buy one and then go start cranking up all the controls on it.
But everybody has it.
Everybody has what?
Everybody has the PR40, so that's why everybody needs to have one. It's that unique sound that you get from a PR40 mic. Don't you know that?
Not if you go in and start screwing with it.
Well, I don't know.
Mana.
Yep.
do.
So something interesting. A little bit about Roku. I made a post in one of the Google Plus communities that Mike's a moderator on, and I talked about how we received about 2,000 downloads in 3 days on Roku, and I had a guy in there telling me that that he didn't think that set-top boxes were the future, and I want to get everybody's feedback on that. So what do you think about a set-top box like a Roku or something else being the future?
Will it? He said it will or it will not?
He said it won't, and nobody downloads on it.
Maybe nobody. Well, I wouldn't say that nobody downloads on them, but a lot of people don't know how to do what with them. They just work. I mean, I don't know if there's anything I can do on my Time Warner set-top box. There may be, but I never do. That doesn't mean that it's not. I mean, I don't see why it will not be I mean, I don't know that it'll take over everything else, but it's going to be big part of watching TV.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought too.
I mean, that's people who make statements like that. That's just dumb, because if you're in the woodworking business, if you decide to go out and buy a very nice circular saw, does that mean you're going to get rid of all of your other saws?
Right.
Of course not. I mean, there are going to be different times you need different saws. You might want a battery-operated, worm drive, left side blade, right side blade, jigsaw, handsaw, hacksaw, rickshaw.
As long as we're giving these people an option and a good option, and when I say we, I mean the internet broadcasting. And people will want to go and would want to listen to it. You know that the Time Warners and the Comcasts and whoever else is out there is not going to carry us.
Yeah, exactly.
Then, the Rokus are going to have a place.
Yeah.
I had an interesting experience last night when I was looking at the app that you developed, because I have not. Of course, I lost my remote control from my Roku, but I went in there and saw this for the first time, the Time Warner app.
Yes.
Which I've not paid much attention to until you mentioned it. But what I learned is that a lot of the pay channels that I have downstairs on the big TV, I can access through the Roku for my upstairs TV, channels that I normally don't even watch because I'm not going to pay for another box up here no more than I watch TV for 30 minutes a week.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why they make those pay channels available over the Roku, first. And second, if I took out everything but basic cable, would I still have those channels on my Roku?
No, the only way to get the Roku apps like that is to have to have like the cable subscription, so it's not for everybody, but you have to have it.
Do I get access to those pay channels on the Roku because I'm paying for those channels on my TV?
Yes, that is why you're getting them.
Yeah, well, that's what I would think, but it's neat that you can now look at them in a second place because my Roku is not next to my regular Time Warner TV.
Well, that's the whole thing with the Roku app is people now are, I think Time Warner charges $7 or $8 a month for, for the box or for other stuff. So, people are buying now one digital cable box for, say, their living room and then buying everybody else Rokus because they can watch a majority of the channels besides local stuff on the on the Roku whenever they want.
Now, Doug is asking, by the way, Charles has mentioned download the Roku app. I did that for my iPhone. I don't have an Android in it, and I got to tell you, I'm impressed. It worked extremely well. Found the unit, and I was able to do that. Now, Doug is asking the question. Said, how much bandwidth do you need for Roku? Well, Roku is only playing what's available on a PC anyway. If you're able to watch certain things on your computer, the amount of bandwidth required for that stream is going to be the same as it is for the Roku because, and Nick is the expert on this one, as I understand, all the Roku does is point you to a website.
Not exactly, but yes, in a very broad basic term, essentially it's just pulling links from already existing websites. So it's not anything that if you couldn't watch on your PC, you're not going to be able to watch it on your Roku. Let's just say that.
When you connect through the Roku to a channel, is it putting it as a peer-to-peer between you and the channel, or it's still going through the Roku server or whatever you call it?
It's actually not going through any kind of Roku servers at all. When I create a channel, I'm strictly pulling from already existing feeds,
right,
or RSS feeds or stuff like that. So really, it's not going through any of the Roku servers at all.
So when you click on a channel in Roku, is it like a shortcut to just like a menu?
Yeah. That's essentially what it is. I mean, it's a small little code that just pulls up this little menu, but all of the everything inside and that's stored in the menu is all from already existing sources outside of the Roku ecosystem. So
yeah,
and pretty soon, Computers 2K Now will be on Roku.
Yes, and all of the other shows on Nissan Communications.
Yeah.
And people who aren't familiar with the technology say, why would I care? Well, it's a little tiny little box about the size of 2 packs of cigarettes, if you're unfortunate enough to know what that is. You can put it beside your TV, plug it into the internet, and you can be watching us on your TV instead of on your computer. Now, again, why would you want to do that? Maybe you want to do some other things on the computer while you're watching the show. Maybe somebody else needs to use the computer. Maybe it's just more convenient for you to watch a TV. Maybe your computer's on the blink. Maybe you have a Mac and it's just working.
Maybe you have a computer, but you don't know how to plug in your big 60-inch TV to it.
Yeah, perfect example.
There's the Netflix box. What for?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you watch
if you live in
Netflix
Europe,
on Roku.
it could be that you've just finished your lunch and you want to come and sit down and relax in the living room, and it's there on your Roku box. You can sit and watch Computers 2K Now.
Yeah, I think the whole point of it is it's just easy accessibility. You don't
Right.
you don't have to run a 150-foot wire from the computer across the room to the TV.
Come on, you're exaggerating. You know it's 148.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Come on,
Steve,
guys.
I don't know why you always have to point that stuff out.
I'm sorry.
And Charles is asking if we have a date for it. We're having some developer issues. We just can't seem to.
No, it's not developer issues. It's a Roku issue.
No, it's just
right.
so the thing with Roku right now is it's such a small market. It's brand new. There are not a lot of apps, and because there's not a lot of apps, they don't have a lot of people in their staff for the app process. So every single app that you submit, similar to something like iOS or Android, it goes through a question and answer process. It gets tested, and then it gets to the store. So since there's not a lot of apps and there's not a lot of people at Roku, it takes a very long time for apps to finally get pushed to the store. So that's what we're waiting on right now.
And in the matter of full disclosure, when I was talking about the developer issues, Nick is the developer, and I'm pulling his leg because he has taken it upon himself to figure out how to do all this stuff all on his own. And it's pretty impressive to see what he's come up with and the doors that he's opening to the internet broadcasters to be able to get onto the Roku medium, because it's not mainstream. I venture a guess if you walk down your street and ask 25 people what do they thought of Roku, maybe 2, 3 have heard of it.
I don't think any of them would have heard of it. That's what I think.
It's not mainstream, but it's out. The geeks are buying them, and they're good little devices, and they're fun, and these are the early devices. The newer ones are going to be even more robust and have more capabilities to it, but just don't lose the remote control.
Well, and if you do, you could always use your iPhone or Android device.
Yeah,
I think it's there's an awful lot of people that are cable cutting now because they're trying to cut costs. We're in a recession, for goodness sake. So you're going to cut your cable costs. You're going to cut your satellite if you've got that. Certainly over here in the UK, we have both satellite and cable. And you're paying a monthly fee for specific channels, whatever they might be. They give you free ones as well. But as we move more to people publishing and broadcasting their own stuff on the internet, that are making it for free, perhaps advertising based, whatever. People are cutting the cable and cutting that monthly cost for just a Roku box that has a multitude of different stuff that caters for everyone's hobbies, experiences, and needs. It's just a ballooning thing, isn't it? Ballooning as in taking off. Not blooming as in flipping heck.
Yeah, when I first turned it on, I wasn't really crazy about it for 2 reasons. One is there was not a lot on there. I mean, Twit's on there, and I'm not big fan of Twit. Nothing wrong with it. I just don't think about it. The other thing is I thought it was rather unresponsive. I thought it was very slow, which leads me to my question. Like so many devices, is Roku updating the firmware in this box, or is that something that has to be done manually, or is there no such thing?
What Roku do you have?
I don't know. It was $99 a year ago.
So probably the Roku 2 XD. If you go to the settings tab, there's a thing called System Update, and if you should be able to push an update. But really, anything before the Roku 3, I wouldn't suggest anybody buying today because the devices are so. I shouldn't say outdated, but with the previous Rokus, the CPU and the GPU were not fast enough to be able to stream, HD video at 720 or 1080p. So if you're gonna buy a Roku, make sure you buy the Roku 3, just because I know that. Mike, you said you had a bit of an issue with videos stuttering and stuff, so you might get that on older Rokus.
So I guess by the size of it, it probably has a blueberry pie in there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's amazing what this technology is doing. And
it's funny. Right when I bought the Roku, actually the only reason I did buy the Roku was for development. And when I bought it and I opened the box, I had to double check. I was like, "Whoa, I don't even think there was a Roku in there," because the box was so light. But the device it's really small device, and it'll practically fit anywhere next to or near your TV.
Yeah. 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice. If you have a comment or question, call in. Ba-da-ba-dum.
So, Mike, I have a question for you. While you guys have been talking about the Roku, I've been doing a little research here. As you know, I do travel, and I bring the mixer with me more often than not. But there are times when, before I got the little Behringer 302 audio cable, I would use my ATR 2100 microphone because when I record my podcast in the morning, everything is coming in live. So I've got Pandora instrumental station playing in the background. I control its audio with a volume slider on Pandora, and in Audacity, everything is coming in on one channel. So I can't separate them out. That's just the way I do it, and it works good. And I've been doing it for 6 years that way. So. But there are a couple things. One is I did notice that if I bring up mic properties, it's very easy to have a button where if I did want to sneeze or cough and I had my mouse ready, I could click on that and mute the Audio Technica, mic. Mm-hmm. But explain to me a little bit. I don't, there's a lot of, I'm not sure how much really great information there is about the whole subject of stereo mix. I have a business laptop from Dell, a Dell Latitude. It's running Windows 7, and it shows that stereo mix is not available on that. And the reason it's given, from what I can see in research, is there are a number of companies that just disable that stereo mix functionality on their sound cards in the laptop. But with programs like Virtual Audio Cable, you can work around. And I just downloaded and looked at a little bit, a program called Virtual Audio Streaming. It's an interesting program that kind of is like a one-stop shop, much simpler. What it does, it sets up a virtual sound card in your machine, much like Virtual Audio Cable does, but you have to go through so many, gyrations to get Virtual Audio Cable. Of course, I've got it down now to a science. I can do it really quickly. But then there's this stereo mix thing, and I saw a YouTube video on it earlier this week about how you can use stereo mix within Skype. So like if I was doing a Skype call and I had stereo mix enabled, I could play music through it and everything. Tell me a little bit about stereo mix and what value it might have for a podcaster who's wanting to do things really simple and maybe doesn't have a mixer to do that.
You are so in luck.
Yeah.
We have the world expert on stereo mix actually participating in this call.
Oh, hallelujah. On a
Tell
Sunday.
him, Steve.
Huh?
Hello, Steve.
What? Okay. Yeah. God, it's been a long time since I've talked about this. Stereo mix. You mentioned, Bruce, that a lot of manufacturers, certainly of laptops, disable it. And they do it because it is so much of a problem, especially for when people are using Skype or other voice communications, that it always seems to, for some stupid reason, default to stereo mix as being the default recording device. So if you disable it, which you're able to do by right-clicking, if you open your sound manager and then right-click inside the white window, you'll see it there. It says "Show Disabled Devices."
Right.
And if you click to show that, then it'll bring up stereo mix, although it's grayed out, and it will say it's disabled. If you click on that once it's actually shown, you can then enable it.
Right.
Which then allows you to basically any sound that is coming out of your computer speakers or through headphones if you have them plugged in will be recorded. So that will be the built-in mic, any sound that's coming through from a web interface, so like YouTube, any audio source that is playing that you can hear from your speakers or your headset if you have them plugged in will record instead of just the microphone.
Now, is the mic side of the stereo mix determined, the mic choice side of the stereo mix determined by what you choose as your default recording device?
No, if you choose it as, you have to select it as a set default, as whatever it is you want it to be. Like when you plug your ATR 2100 USB microphone in, you need to select that as your default device.
Right.
It depends what you're going through. If you're recording into Audacity, like you mentioned earlier, you can actually bypass whatever you want on the Windows settings. You could have Windows settings set that the microphone that's built into the laptop is the default device. But on Audacity, you can override those in its own device and audio settings in its own menu. But generally speaking, whatever you set is the recording default in Windows. So you click the set default. That is what you get recording out or going out to somebody that you may be chatting to.
Okay.
So what is it you're actually trying to think? The thing is, you have to bear in mind, if you plug in a USB device, if it's just a USB microphone, that's fine. That's just another input device. So you can select the ATR 2100 or any USB device as being the recording device. In that case, the stereo mix doesn't work because it only works for the audio sources going through the built-in sound card. It doesn't pick up the fact that you've got a USB mic plugged in.
Okay, just interesting. I've never used it and just had some questions on it. But this virtual audio streaming is a very simple little application, and I'm not sure what it costs if you decide to buy it, but it looks to be a much simpler solution than the virtual audio cable. But Mixer is always the best way to go.
It is, where are we? At the moment on offer, $29.95 for a single license. I do have virtual audio cable myself, although I don't really use it that much these days. But it is, once you've got your head around how it works, it's simple, like Bruce said earlier. You can get it up and going in a matter of 30 seconds, but it really does take quite a while to actually get your head to, right now I've got it. But it does work extremely well.
The only problem I have with it is that there is some latency built in. The more, what do they call them, Bruce? The
Modules.
Modules that you put in there,
Repeaters.
the more latency it has.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if you've only got a couple of devices that you want to sort of link together to come out of one channel, then it's usually pretty good if you've got a fairly recent computer. But the more strain you put on it, yeah, like Mike says, the more latency you get, and you say something and it starts, if you're monitoring it, coming back a few milliseconds later, which kind of it makes you want to, yeah.
Nick, on the Roku, I logged in and looked at all of the settings. It says it's up. It checks once a day for software updates. It checked today, and it's up to date. I'm on software version 4.9 build 5060. Have no idea of whether that's good, bad, or indifferent.
I think that's probably pretty recent. I mean, you have the last gen Roku, so it's not extremely old.
I think that it ought to be. If it doesn't stream 720, then as far as I'm concerned, there's a failure of essential purpose.
No, I don't think the issue is that it won't, but it just has a harder time. Like, you might notice video stuttering and stuff.
Well, that's not. If it stutters, it's not streaming properly. I mean, you don't buy a piece of equipment to play video to have it stutter.
Very true.
Stutter.
You also got to remember these are also first-gen devices.
I mean, Roku's been around for a while now.
Yeah, a couple, 3 years, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Good morning, Spence.
Good morning.
Welcome back to the world of the living.
Hey, Spence.
Hello. It's been quite an adventure.
I can imagine. Good to hear your voice.
Well, thanks.
Your audio is a little low.
All right, I'm not going through XSplit, so that's why I had to change my settings a little bit here.
Okay. All right.
But if you give me a second, I'll adjust it up.
It's just a tiny bit low, not much.
How's that?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Better? Okay.
So how y'all feeling, y'all?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm entering the next phase, which is the get used to the new plumbing phase. So I got past and the surgery went well. They wanted to let me go after I was only there one night. They were going to let me go the next day at first, but I just wasn't feeling well enough. And so I came home the second day, and I've been I tell you, the things you take for granted, I measure my progress in walking down the street one more house. So it just knocks the crap out of you. So, but I'm doing good. I mean, Pam stayed home with me for the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and of course over the weekend. But now I'm pretty much able to get around on my own and not be a danger to myself anymore. So, but I have severe restrictions. I can't bend over. I can't lift. But all in all, I mean, thank God for medication, because otherwise I'm not on anything now. But there are times during the day when I've got to take some serious stuff because of dizziness or headache. But it went well. I mean, they said the surgery went according to plan. They did what they had to do, and I haven't had any infections or anything like that. So it's good.
Where was the surgery done?
At what hospital?
Yes.
Duke.
Okay.
Yeah, Duke. And yeah, a great bunch of people. I really was very pleased. The doctor I had is a chief of neurosurgery at Duke Raleigh Hospital and also a professor of surgery at Duke University. So they knew what the heck they were doing. And
how long did the surgery last, Spence?
3 hours. 3 hours, yeah. So it was, I guess
it was
it's
almost
fairly...
like it just flashed by, right?
Well, for me, I went into the, my last comment was they're rolling me in and I'm looking up at the lights in the ceiling. I said, I feel like I'm in a TV show. When you show the patient being rolled in and they're looking up at the fluorescent lights as you go from door to door to door. And I said, it was kind of weird. And then next thing I know, they're saying, okay, I'm going to make you a little drowsy. And then next thing I remember was waking up in the recovery room. And
you went, oh, okay.
And yeah, it took a while. I was actually, now I understand what it means to hallucinate, because there were people in the room that I kind of closed my eyes. My family was there. I closed my eyes and I'd apparently be dreaming, because I'd see people in the room and I'd wake up and open my eyes and they weren't there anymore. So that was kind of strange. Just coming out of the anesthesia and the first
that could be
day.
useful if you could
Recreate
master that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they had apparently the drugs if you go through brain surgery, the drugs they put you on after the first 24 hours is some pretty serious stuff to keep down. They want to prevent seizures and swelling and all kinds of other things that if you had been operated on another part of your body, you wouldn't have to take. So apparently I was on some, I don't remember much of the first day except that it was very odd. So, but doing well. And I'll be out for a while because they don't want me to go back to work. It's just, yeah, I'm so disappointed. So I figure by sometime mid this week I can. I mean, the most I've done with the computer so far was just check my email on my laptop. This is the first time I've sat down in front of the computer.
I figured you're going to call in.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling well enough. I mean, I just have to take it in really small doses. That's all.
Now, how long will you be away from work?
7 weeks.
7 weeks.
Wow.
Now, do you, obviously you're on FMLA then right now?
Well, thank goodness I'm on a very good short-term disability plan that my company has. So I'm actually getting paid for 35 days. So can't be more pleased with that. Yeah, it actually counts. The FMLA and the plan are kind of concurrent. So they both. You subtract days from both, and I don't know. I mean, the other plan has no benefits, so it's except that you get your job back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm actually on both.
Yeah.
But I get a benefit.
This is a good opportunity because our company has a short-term disability program too. A lot of people don't realize the high percentage of people who have the type of an injury that will cause them to be out of work for an extended period of time. And if you don't have some kind of a short-term disability program, probably the most famous and well-known is AFLAC,
Right.
But yeah, that's really important. Our company also has the ability that I really like this. You know, we use a single bank of PTO, personal time off, that's sick time, vacation time, whatever. But if somebody, doesn't have enough PTO to cover the time they're going to be out, our company allows employees to donate PTO to other employees, and it's been really neat to see. I've got a guy on my team that just regularly donates PTO to other employees who need it. So
They have that at my wife's bank as well, because they had a man whose son had leukemia and just ran out of time off to be with his son, and that people donated their time off so he could be out.
yeah, that's great.
So yeah, I'm very grateful for the benefits that I've got.
Mm-hmm.
And the people just said, come back, don't come back till you're ready. And I can't imagine yet what ready means. I mean, not really sure. I just know that I probably wouldn't make it very far into a normal day.
Mm.
But
Wow, what happened to Mike? He dropped
Yeah.
from the internet completely.
it looks like it's trying to reconnect. I see the
Yeah,
little,
no, but I mean, in Skype
little
it shows
sign
him.
there. So
My internet dropped right before I was about to call in.
LIB. That's going to be interesting to find out what happened there.
I'm going to put a link in the chat. To do that, I want to make sure everybody understands this. I do not benefit personally whatsoever from this. It happens to be from the company that I work for. But if you don't work for a company that provides benefits like Spencer's talking about, where you can have, a lot of people use a company called Jefferson Pilot. There are a lot of short-term disabilities that you can choose from, with your company. But we have a short-term disability product called Mana. And one of the neat things about Mana is that these are actually gifts from people who are members of Mana. And probably the greatest difference between Mana and other short-term disability programs is that the income replacement that you receive is not taxable because it's gifts from other Mana members. So it's quite an interesting
that's cool.
concept. So, and it will replace up to 80% of your income for a period of 12 months. So
what does that have to do with morning manna?
it has nothing to do with morning manna, except that manna, in the Bible was kind of God's short-term provision for a need. And of course, while the children of Israel were wandering through the wilderness, manna was sustained them as their primary food source. And so morning manna is, and the manna was available in the morning. The Israelites would just go up, pick it up off the ground, and put it in baskets or whatever, and so forth. So morning manna is just my little bite-sized piece of scripture that I share on weekday mornings.
Which is very, very nice, relaxing, interesting. Yeah. Hey, Mike?
What?
All right, well, audio's back, but not video.
Yeah, it's working on it.
What happened? Don't know?
Don't hit apply on your router whenever you're...
Oh, jeez.
There's no try button?
No, I don't know why this darn thing has to reset the entire router to do a setting. All right, hang on a second. You just ignore me for the moment.
I'm going to ignore you for a long time. Remember, guys, he's asking for it. Yeah, Bruce, give people the link to go and listen to your
Oh, yeah,
readings.
I put it in there. I put it in there. It's morningmanna.com, and you can subscribe via iTunes. As of right now, 2,151 episodes are in the can, as they say.
Is Andrew still here? I don't think so. But, Nick, this is for you too. I read this. Microsoft blogger Paul Thurrott. I saw his name on, I think on GFQ yesterday.
Yeah, he does a weekly show called What the Tech with
Oh,
with Andrew
that's
Zarian.
Paul. Yeah.
Yeah.
has now predicted that Microsoft Xbox 720 console will actually hit the market this November. Thoroth offers a mix of what he considers cold, known facts, and clearly identified conjecture about the upcoming device. Important to user is this confidentially offered claim about the price. Microsoft will initially offer two pricing models for the console, a standalone version, $499, and a $299 version that requires a 2-year Xbox Live Gold commitment at an expected price of $10 per month. So that's $240 and $299. That's actually more expensive, but it's the same.
What I find funny about that is, so with the 2-year thing, it just means that you're signing up for a Live for 2 years, which for gamers and people that play Xbox, that's obviously not an issue. But I don't see why anybody would buy it uncontracted.
Right.
It costs so much more uncontracted. With
Yep.
gold is $60 a year, so it still doesn't even come close to the price of the $500 one.
It's interesting, though.
It is. It's going to be very interesting. They actually have a press conference. I believe it's May 21st. It's a Tuesday, and that's where they're going to be unveiling the next Xbox.
Towards the back side of the engine. Yeah, it's probably it with a hook in it.
What?
Well, I don't know where it is. You have to get a Kleenex to wipe it off to stick it back in to make sure that.
I'm being totally silent here. I hope you notice.
Yeah, I know. We are too.
Michael,
Yeah, I
we
think
can
Mike
hear
figured
you.
out.
Yeah, looks like he clicked that. Oh dear, I think the audio is going out to everybody.
Okay, then that's not the problem.
Maybe not.
Michael,
What is the problem?
we can hear what you're saying. That's the problem. Yeah, Spence, you were saying earlier, I'm really pleased everything went so well. It's hard to believe that looking at you there, considering it was just a week ago and you hadn't even been in for it, and yet you've had this done, and you're back a week later. And looking great. It is incredible.
Well,
I think what you've gone through.
They had me walking. I was walking the night of surgery.
Wow.
And they want to kick you out as quickly as possible. I mean, when you think about the surgery, yeah, they weren't. It is considered brain surgery. They do open the dura and go in and muck with your
gray
base
cells
of your spinal cord and do 3 procedures. There's a craniotomy where they actually take some bone off the skull.
Ow.
A laryngectomy where they remove a bridge from one of the from C1 and C2, and then they actually cut into the dura, which is where your spinal cord meets your brain, and they sew in a patch like wetting your pants out. They say they take a piece of. I had a choice between synthetic patch or a patch from my own body, and they said if you take the patch from your own body, we have to give you a much bigger. Wow, am I big on screen here?
What happened to Bruce?
Well, it's still
there
there.
you are. No, never mind. I think I clicked at the wrong place.
Zooming in. If I turn around, I'll show you my scar. But
No, it's okay. Don't turn. You're not supposed to turn.
I know. Well, actually, I'm doing pretty good considering that I'm supposed to practice range of motion, moving my head back and forth, up and down, and literally the first day it was impossible to do it. Second day was worse. I guess it's just because of the nature of the recovery. But they didn't even stitch me up; they glued it closed.
Ow.
Surgical glue. So
Crazy glue.
But where was I? I was talking about something, but But
about the spinal cord, about the whether you wanted synthetic or not.
Yeah, so the synthetic patch. So they have a patch. The doctor said if we take tissue from your own body, we're going to have to give you a much bigger incision because we have to go up into your scalp and take it. So I said, no, I think I'll go with the synthetic because it's been proved to be very successful. And it's just a piece of collagen from a cow that they take all the genetic material out of and they sew it in there. And after a period of time, it dissolves and goes away, and it's your own tissue again because it's just your own tissue grows in and replaces. So it's really pretty fascinating.
That's amazing to think about.
It's incredible that they actually determined that this is possible. Just blows your mind, doesn't it?
Yeah, makes me think, holy cow.
Well,
the blow your mind one. That's what's in their mind.
Yeah, there were no monkey or any other options, just the cow option. That was it.
Good job. It's not Indian, isn't it? I think it's India that, whatever it is, I can't think now. So one religion doesn't like people messing with cows, another one doesn't like pigs, whatever. But I think it's India, isn't it? That
it is India.
Class the cow is sacred. So, you'd probably have been a little bit longer under the knife if you'd have gone with your own tissue. Bless you.
Well, the thing that they also said was that it's going to take probably several months to see what the final results are, depending on, what already I noticed some differences, but other things which may have been beyond the scope of the surgery may not change. So, but if I can get back to the good days that I had, then I'll be fine.
Mm.
That's if nothing else. I like that dirtbag says don't come unglued.
Yeah. Carry around a little bottle of super glue with you just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah.
But are you going to be able to sing?
Am I going to be able to what?
Sing.
Sing?
Yeah, Oh, you're okay. You'll be able to sing in no time.
Oh, well, I asked the doctor. I said, will I be able to play the violin? He says, yeah, no reason why not. I said, well, I never played it before.
Yeah.
I've actually picked up my banjo and played a little bit. So just to keep doing it. But the biggest thing is just getting tired really quick. It's amazing.
Well,
just walking up and down the stairs once is enough to make you want to sit down and take a nap.
Since the comment was mentioned about not coming unglued, I have a testimonial to share. Now, when you buy a little tube of super glue, and you use it for whatever project, and then you put the cap back on and you put it in the drawer.
Might
and then
as
you
well
don't
throw
need
it in the trash.
And then you don't need it for 3 or 4, 6, 7, 8 months later. You come back to use it, it's unusable because you can't get back into it. Everything's hardened up. You can't squeeze it out.
Right.
But this brand of super glue that I bought, which is Loctite, has and the top on it just kind of comes off like this. I've used this thing 3 or 4 times, and every time I use it, I'm able to get right back into it. And
wow.
So, if you want to buy super glue and be able to reuse it, 3 or 4 or 5 months later without throwing it away, this is the one I recommend.
Yeah, I tend to buy it in just a package of 3, knowing that 3 tiny little tubes because it's going to be a one-time use. Actually, the surgical glue is a derivative of super glue.
Yeah.
Really
and this high-tech tip moment is brought to you by that
Vid
Blaster guy at www.thatvidblasterguy.com. Speaking about Vid Blaster, Amnon.
Yeah.
Are you using the new 3.06 version for today's show?
No, not to do the show. I don't trust it yet.
Yeah.
And actually, the first one was screwed up.
Yeah.
It had
so
a
have you run it?
It's running on the machine that streams to Ustream.
Okay.
And to tell you the truth, I see no difference in the CPU usage.
Okay, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you.
And this machine, it's the machine that we used to do the show in the beginning. I think it's a quad core AMD. I only have 5 modules open, and it's running at about 90%.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's how it was running before. So I don't see much of a difference.
Mm-hmm.
It may make a difference for HD. I don't know. It may have something to do with HD, but it's definitely not a big deal.
Yeah. Well, that VidBlaster guy had a good video this week on his show. If you want to learn more about VidBlaster, the new version, you can watch it. So check it out.
Stephen Haywood is inching me back toward Wirecast.
Mm-hmm.
What does Wirecast cost?
A lot less than VidBlaster, let's put it this way.
Oh, I thought Wirecast was expensive.
It's $4.95, just like a VidBlaster Pro would be.
Oh, what's the one? Oh, what's the one that's so expensive? That's hardware based.
Oh, you're talking about the TriCaster.
Telecaster?
TriCaster.
TriCaster, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Telecaster.
I don't need
I'm
that.
thinking guitars.
Stratocaster.
Stratocaster, yeah.
What? He cannot call in?
Mike can't.
What in the world? Let me see who's in the...
Well, I'm gonna take off and I'll listen for a while.
Well, thank you for coming in. It's good to see you, and I know our listeners.
Oh, thanks everybody. I'm going to get emotional, but I was very overwhelmed by the response of friends and family that I just had. I had no idea. I just.
It's sometimes it takes
fantastic bringing by meals and just coming by just to stop in, and calls that I've gotten from people, and just don't realize how valuable your friends are.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Spence, and just don't forget, you're only doing little things now, and you're getting tired because it's your body telling you, no, you need to rest lots.
Yep.
Don't push past too far.
Otherwise, if I don't rest, my wife will beat me.
There you go. There you go.
Just take it steady. There's no rush to get back to anything, mate. It's not worth rushing back for.
That's the good part about it, is I can really just take it easy. So.
That's good.
All right, everybody. Thanks. I'll hang around the chat for a while.
Lunch tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be eating lunch tomorrow. Yeah. Maybe towards the end of the week.
All right.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
All right, Spence. Talk to you later.
Yeah.
All the best, Spence.
Hey,
why can't I get Mike back? I don't understand why he can't connect. It says that it's not answering. I mean, I see him here. Let's see if I can actually add him in. Where's Mike? And I'll say...
Let's say try and add him to the conference.
Invite to group call.
Yeah.
Mike, I'm calling you.
When I'm calling you... I'll stop that.
Hey, I do a show during the week called Tech News Week with some guys from Tech and Coffee, and we have a segment in the show called Stupid Tech Moment, and the one from this week was really interesting, and I'll put a link into the story, but these two guys were involved in an armed robbery, and one of the things they stole was an iPhone. And so the guy who lost his iPhone was running one of these apps where you can locate your iPhone, and he saw that his iPhone was at the county jail. So he went down to the jail and mentioned to the officer in charge, about his phone was showing up at the jail. So they decided to call the number, and it started ringing out of this ex-con's rear end. He had stuck this iPhone up his butt, and it started ringing while they were searching him. And so the question is, if that was your iPhone, would you have even wanted it back?
No.
Once it was recovered?
When it's been there.
No, thanks. Even if it had been in a condom, no, thank you.
Here's the story in the chat. So
I think anybody today would be stupid to try to steal a mobile device, like some kind of cell phone. I mean, that's traced directly back to your location.
Yep.
yeah, and
Either
here's
that
another
works.
interesting thing. I use a program called AirDroid on my Samsung Galaxy Note 2. Love this phone, and of course you have to be rooted to do all the functions of it. But it has a couple new functions where you can. It doesn't have to be. It no longer has to be connected to your Wi-Fi network to work this. So somebody steals my phone, I can go into AirDroid and access my phone, and I can remote wipe it using AirDroid, but I can activate the camera, and so I can not only find it on a map, but I can see what's coming out the camera with whoever had it, and it's kind of interesting. In fact, I'll demonstrate the camera app here with you in a little bit. I'll go ahead and get it set up. So,
Hey, Mike,
Yeah, you have my audio?
we have your audio. Go ahead and try to connect to Computers 2K Voice with video. I just want to see if it will actually start.
Well, I've got an issue I'm having to deal with at the moment. So I'll try to check back in just a little bit. My wife has had car trouble in Winston-Salem, and so we're trying to find out if there's anybody around who can figure out why her check engine light is flashing.
That's no big deal.
Well, we were told by the mechanic that if it comes on, it's no big deal. If it's flashing, stop immediately.
Oh.
Did she go and get gas?
I have no idea.
Because you probably already know this, but if she left the gas thing all the way open, it'll go.
Well, the light
I
will
had that
come on,
happen
but it
with me.
doesn't flash.
Oh, it doesn't flash. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to disconnect. Amnon, what you need to do after I disconnect is drop me out of the group call.
I was trying. There is actually no way for me to do that.
If you right-click, you should be able to click remove from group.
After 30 seconds,
Well,
that goes away.
I'm looking at it and I'm right-clicking on it, and there is only remove from contacts
Yeah, that's not it.
when I'm in the group.
Well, I hate to do this to you, but after I hang up, why don't you restart the call with Bruce?
Go ahead.
Yeah, hang up with Bruce, and then I'll call back in a few minutes.
It'll probably go out.
Well, let's give it a couple of minutes anyway. I'll be back in a little bit.
All right. Okay, Mike.
So here's the remote camera feature of AirDroid. If you can see it, I can kind of go around, scroll around, and look at it. But this is you can see my video and how I'm turning the phone. And can you see how that works?
Wait a second.
Well, it makes me dizzy watching.
Oh, I can make you a whole lot dizzier. Watch this. But it's a neat feature, and then of course I can turn that off. The reason I like using the program is because it does give me the opportunity to demonstrate certain programs. So if I wanted to demonstrate how Evernote works, then I'm able to bring that up and show people. So anyway,
Now, Bruce,
good-
how long ago did you root your phone?
the most recent time was after a little AT&T update rolled out and caused me to lose root was about a week and a half ago.
Okay, and how did you back up everything? Did you just back it up all through the Play Store? Like your apps and everything, or did you have to re-download?
Yeah, through the Play Store, but I also, when I was rooted before, I used Titanium backup.
Yeah.
And so I had a backup on my SD card. this is the number 2 selling paid program for Android. It's called Titanium Backup. And it does a backup for me every Tuesday and every Friday. So
You can only have that if you're rooted, correct?
that's correct.
Okay. So I'm wondering what the best way for me to back up my stuff before I root it is.
There are some other backup programs that do. I'm trying to see if trying to remember. And of course, this one may be a Samsung or an AT&T one. This is called App Backup and Restore. I don't believe this one requires root, but you're looking at it now. App Backup and Restore.
Okay.
Yeah. So you might want to check that out as well.
I'm thinking of going now, Bruce. Let me ask you a question. This is a problem I've been having with my phone. Can you do group messaging on your phone?
I'm not a big message person, so I've
SMS,
never.
Yeah.
The only group messaging that I've done is I have a program that we like. It's called Life 360, and just kind of recommend this. This is for my family, and I can locate where all of my family members are on a map, and if I check the little green button, it will say I'm okay. But if I click on the little call out at the top, I can do a message to everybody on my family, and they all get it, and then they can reply back. So we can kind of do some group messaging here.
I'm having a problem. I can't figure out. I can't seem to be able to do group SMS.
Yeah,
and I believe it's a feature that AT&T is locking on the OS that they release.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit annoying when I send a group message out to I'll send one to both my parents and my sister, and they'll come back as separate messages. So it's a bit annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a great app. It will tell you where all the fire stations and police stations are. I don't have it set right now, but you can also set it to show. It will show you where all the registered sex offenders are as well. So, Life 360. It's a free app. It's a good one. So, anyway, this demonstration of AirDroid is about to come to an end. So,
Oh. Nine 518-9773 Computers 2K voice on Skype.
Got a question for you, Amnon.
Yes, sir, Dr. Campbell.
My chat has not loaded from the beginning. It says chat loading, please wait. And I've tried 2 different browsers, and I called in because I couldn't find out what was going on the rest of the time. No chat.
And you put in your name.
It didn't ask for my name. There's a little box saying chat loading, please wait.
Refresh the page.
Several times.
Really?
Yep. And I tried 2 different browsers, and nada.
I don't know why. Let me see if I refresh my page, what happens. No, it's all there.
Oh. Well, it's probably my computer.
Yeah, but that's...
Any update on your ISP issues there?
Oh, yes, I have some good news.
Well, let's hear it.
It's been 2 months of trying to get something in here, and I've tried everything from satellite to Ouija board. Didn't work. Called the owner of the building and said, look, is there anything we can do? Here's the guy's name and his phone number, and he won't let it go across for right away because he hates Time Warner. Well, the owner of the building called up and worked a deal with him where I get my access to Time Warner, and the owner of the building lets him use a lot behind for his cars, the car place across the street, called the Good Guys.
That's great.
So in about a week or two, while Time Warner gets through screwing around, I will have access. Right now, I'm using the MiFi from Verizon, thanks to Tom, that Bit Blaster guy. And without it, I'd be sitting at the library trying to check my email.
Well, that speaks well of your landlord for certain.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and negotiating, and I'm just really glad to hear that. I'm really, really happy for you.
Well, so am I, because I can't make any money without internet. And I mentioned when I talked to my landlord the fact that I just signed a 3-year lease, and I'd hate to vacate it because I couldn't do what I need to do. And that may have been something that gave him courage to call up or something. But it worked.
Yep.
I don't have it in yet, but I'm in the process of doing so.
Hey, Nick, if you want to call in on video, you're welcome to it. It's up to
Okay,
you.
I'll call in. Give me a few minutes and I'll call in.
Sure.
I'm glad you got that sorted and you're moving forward with the project now, Charles. That must have been very frustrating.
Oh, extremely so. I have about 6 potential clients that want to spend money with me and put their business on the internet, but couldn't do it. Now I can. I will be able to in a week or so. Time Warner said they'll get the paperwork signed and through their little processes. Said, but within 2 weeks I'll have Time Warner internet at overinflated price. Hell, it's like $300 to get 5 up and 50 down, something like that.
Annoying. The proverbial fly in the ointment, but at least you've managed to get around it and move forward. That's good.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's either that or spend $3,000 to have a pole put up.
I could think of a lot more better things to spend $3,000 on.
Oh, yeah, definitely so. Chinese food comes to mind.
Or a few punnets of it, yes.
But it's frustrating not being able to get my chat loading.
It could be a cache issue. Have you emptied your cache recently?
No, I haven't.
It might be an idea just to shut the browser down and empty your cache. It could be a cache folder. It's causing a hiccup.
Yeah, this is a good practical tip. I do manage a remote team of 15, and of course we all work from home and everything. And I call this I call this little process the browser enema. And you do need to clear out cache, cookies, temporary internet files, and so forth on somewhat of a regular basis, just to kind of keep things clean and running. What recommendation do you have, Steve, for how often this should be done? Most of us use CC Cleaner or CCleaner. It's a good option, but how often and frequent do you think, Amnon and Steve, that it should be done? And Nick?
Well, personally, I would say, for myself, I used to be on the internet a huge amount of time, and I always cleared it every time I turned the computer off. Basically, I would go to turn the computer off of a night time. I'd run CCleaner and then turn the machine off. So that way, when I then switched on or after I'd rebooted, it always came back fresh with no cookies, no cache, no temporary internet files. The whole lot was gone. And it just keeps the machine nice and fresh. It doesn't falter and run. I mean, fine, if you go onto sites that have got lots of very small icons and things like that, it takes a matter of just an extra second perhaps to load that page. But as long as you've got a fairly fast connection, it's better to empty the cache and get rid of it than to try and reread the information that has been updated when you've got something that's gone corrupt. It just happened regularly.
Go ahead. I was doing this on my my sister-in-law's laptop, and this is the record for me. She had over 2 gigabytes of temporary internet files on her browser. In her computer.
Between the browser and the actual temporary files, I've seen computers that had 20 gig, 15 gig, because somehow if the first time Windows crashes and you are restarting it by pressing the button versus gracefully restarting, it will not remove temporary files anymore. It will just keep on adding them.
That's one of the things that slows your system down, is because
big time.
It's constantly looking at the temporary internet files to think, have I got that little icon? Do I need to download it, or have I already got it? And when you've got 2 gig of files in there, then the Windows system slows down.
The way that I explain it to people is when they say, well, what does it do? I said, if you have a book that has 3 chapters and the index for the book is 1,000 pages, that will, at different times, those 3 chapters were updated, and you have to go through each and every one of these to get to the chapter, it's going to slow you down. So better off cleaning it up and let it just get that one time and start from fresh. Now, Steve, the way that you're doing it is the best way, except there could be a problem there. If you had a Windows update that required a reboot and you told it not to reboot at that point, and you're running CCleaner and it removes all the temporary files, there's a very good chance that the update will not finish. And I don't know what would happen then, because Windows updates leaves some files in the temporary files, not in the internet temporary, but in the temp files, to look at when it comes back fresh before it loads all the drivers and apps and all that. So it's always good to tell Windows, and it's easier said than done, to reboot right there and then. But I do the same thing that you're talking about. I run it before shutting down, so it'll come back fresh.
Yeah, I do make a point if it has done Windows updates and it says, you need to restart for these to take effect.
Right.
I always let it do that when it's convenient to me, and then let it go through on configuring Windows. Don't turn the computer off.
Right.
Then when it boots back in, I'll do it then to shut it down. So if it takes extra, reboot in a couple of minutes, but it doesn't do any harm to clear out your cache. You're not going to damage the system, but if anything, it's just going to make it a little bit faster, and you'll alleviate the problems that Charles is experiencing. It's not going to do any harm.
It's a lot more efficient.
Yeah, definitely. But CCleaner is a brilliant program. You can actually change quite a few of the settings. So if you want to keep some of the cookies, and if you want to keep certain aspects of some programs, or don't have it touch certain aspects of some of the programs, you can select or deselect whichever. But it's a very, very efficient program, and it's free. You can get that, I think it's pryform.com, but do a search for CCleaner on your favorite search engine and download the free version.
I like to go to filehippo.com to get updates for programs like CCleaner, other programs as well. I don't know if you've ever used that, but it's a great resource, and you can get quicker access to the direct download links than having to go through CNET and some of the other different places. But it also helps you to bypass all the prompts to, try to get you to update to a paid version and so forth.
Yeah, what I don't like on a lot of these sites where they sort of review, like CNET and things like that now, there's so many adverts on these sites that are misleading, because they sort of click here to download. And for the people that aren't particularly conversant with computers, they'll go to, I'm saying CNET, but I mean, probably FileHippo and a lot of the other type sites that do that. The first thing they see on there is click here to download. And of course, because they've clicked to go through and find what it was they were looking for, there's so many things that are misleading that they click on and they think it's the file that they're requesting, and it's some other kind of, I wouldn't say malware, but something else that's completely different to download. And the actual download link that you need is either right at the bottom or nowhere obvious where you think it's going to be. That is very frustrating.
Yeah, I just updated my CCleaner while we were talking about it, and a lot of times I don't look at the release notes to see what's new, because it is updated quite frequently. But it has improved history cleaning for Google Chrome, improved compatibility with Firefox version 19 and newer, optimized registry cleaning algorithm for Windows 8, which is good for me. Improved Internet Explorer 10 compatibility. Improved duplicate file finder tool. I do not do the paid version. I'm wondering what the difference is between the free version and CCleaner Professional.
Anybody on the chat has the paid version?
And it's $24.95. I'm assuming you get lifetime free upgrades, but
Well, you get it on the free one too. I would think more business will do it, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Did I tell you what happened with Bambuser this week?
Nope.
When was it? Tuesday morning, I think. I got an email when I got up in the morning from the director of business development. It says, as you know, Bambuser is free for individuals. We looked at your website and we see that you're charging people to use it. And you're making money from it. So you need to get in touch with us and we need to find a solution. So I sent an email back and I said, don't I wish? And I explained to her that why the website shows whatever it does, because my company is actually footing the bill. And she came back and she said, okay, thanks for letting me know. Feel free to keep on using it. But I did tell her that I would love to talk with her about some ideas. And she said she was in Finland for a few days. She said, but just give me like a brief thing, what you want to talk about, and I'll call you when I get back. So I told her about actually doing that, running ads, mid-rolls and stuff like this that the user can control when. Like okay, we're going on a break now, and you go on the dashboard and you click and start an ad, so it doesn't knock out everybody else. It doesn't knock everything off when they do it. Haven't heard from her yet, so I don't know what happens. But it was very interesting. Yes, Brent, we use the registry cleaner. I do.
I'm just looking on the Piriform site now. Actually, you've got the CCleaner free edition, which is the one we're referring to. And I see they're also doing a business edition, a network edition, and a network professional edition.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't. I thought they were only doing a free one and a paid one, but yeah, looking at it, there's 3 different paid for versions there. It's piriform.com if you do piriform.com. CCleaner is what we're referring to, and there's a multitude of different versions.
Yeah, to
free
Brent's,
one is a good
question about the registry cleaner. I use that, and I've got such confidence in it right now. Knock on wood, I haven't been bit by it yet. I don't even back up the registry. I just let CCleaner do its thing, and I've never ever had a problem with the registry.
Fate.
Say what?
I always back up, even though I sort of think, well, I've never had a problem with it for the time it takes, and it always puts the date and the time anyway, so it's not like you have to type anything in. I just click the button and think I'd rather have it than not.
Well,
that's interesting.
Yeah, they've got a great file finder feature under tools. With CCleaner, you can control, what programs are set to start up, instead of having to go through the control panel and all that. So it's got specific settings for what starts up in Google Chrome, Internet Explorer. It's a really great program.
I just downloaded it, and a new window popped up, powered by Yellow Book, giving me the address of dry cleaners in Livingston, New Jersey. I have no idea. Well, there it is. My chat's still closed.
So I cannot seem to be able to do group messaging on the Galaxy Note 2. I'm not sure what the issue is.
Charles, the only thing is that chat is using PHP and some JavaScript to display. That's the only thing. If your JavaScript is disabled.
Yeah, if you have JavaScript, if you have Java disabled inside of your browser,
Not Java, JavaScript.
Yeah, if you have Java and JavaScript disabled inside your browser, it will not work.
I've been having trouble with Java. It keeps wanting to reload.
You mean update?
Yeah, update.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're having a lot of updates.
What you could do, Charles, is if you go to java.com, java.com, there's a button that says check my Java version. If you click on that, it'll tell you whether you've got the updated version or the most up-to-date version. And if you haven't, it'll offer to do it for you.
I'll do that.
But they do update fairly regular, Java.
Yeah.
A bit like Flash. They're forever updating.
And Nick, just so you'll know, of course, you're probably on 4.1.2. Jelly Bean group messaging is native in 4.2. So whenever we would happen to get updated by our carriers to Jelly Bean 4.2, group messaging is native there.
Yeah, I read that, and according to Bruce, you're on AT&T.
Right.
Yeah, on AT&T, apparently it should be out by the end of the month. But we all know how well those schedules really work. So
yeah,
There's a few apps like Go SMS, and there's another one I'm trying right now that's called Hand Sent that I'll try for the time being. But it's really frustrating.
Are you on AT&T as well?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
So this is also another reason I've been thinking about rooting and installing my own custom ROM, is just mainly because of that. But I don't want to lose a lot of the AT&T things that I've got on here. So, like stuff like S Voice and all that stuff. That's all built in here.
Hey Nick, I was thinking about you and Vaughn yesterday after we were talking.
Yes.
What happens if I get an account for Radar Gaming and you're doing the show?
Doesn't matter. I'm not supposed to be on Vaughn. Like if I'm on your show, I'm not supposed to be on Vaughn.
Really?
Yep. It's a joke.
So you're saying that I could not use Vaughn right now?
Nope. Well, I mean, you could, but
no. I mean, by his rules.
Yeah, he'd probably pull your channel.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a real joke. I don't really see the whole point to it, but I mean, he'll do whatever he wants. So,
are you guys in the middle of something?
Me?
You and Bruce?
No, I'm just going through some settings.
Listen to this.
Yeah.
The Apple Worldwide Developers Conference sold out in just 2 minutes, blowing away last year's records of 2 hours. Tickets went on sale today at 10 a.m., as was announced yesterday when Apple said it was... I mean, this is the story from last week. Its event would be held June 10th through the 14th at the Moscone West in San Francisco. Apple WWDC runs neck and neck with the annual Google I.O. event in the race for hottest tech show.
See, I have to disagree with that article. Google I/O is nothing like WWDC. Google I/O, they give out products, they give people things to test out and to develop for. And Google I/O and Apple's conference is nothing like that, which makes me wonder why.
Oh, they're talking about the dates.
Oh, the dates. Oh,
because
okay.
the Google event is slated for May 15th through the 17th, which comes right after that. And it sold out in 45 minutes. Wow. But listen to this. While transferring tickets for the Apple one is generally not allowed, an ambitious eBay seller is attempting to get $10,000 for the $1,600 ticket. $1,600 ticket for a conference for the Apple developers?
It's a joke.
What in the world?
And their swag doesn't compare with Google's swag.
They don't give anything away at theirs. I mean, they'll give away what, like, a little keychain or something. But Google's giving away phones and tablets at theirs. I don't see why anybody would want to go to the Apple conference.
I wonder how much Google charges.
I don't know, but I'd pay to go and get a free tablet, a free phone, and a free streaming box for my living room.
Sure. I mean, it just amazes me. I mean, how long it takes, that's not a big deal. I mean, most concerts today sell out in minutes. Yeah. So that's, you can't brag about this. And, hey, Steve.
Yes.
Yes.
I think they must be off their pip if they're going to go to the Apple conference.
Well. Steve, there are now around 80 providers trialing or offering fiber broadband services across the UK.
Yep.
According to the latest... Do I?
We're quite spoilt for choice, really.
The telecoms regulator revealed that internet service providers using BT's infrastructure to provide the connectivity were now serving more than 250,000 customers and continuing to grow. There was a growing trend toward taking super fast broadband from providers, with subscriptions accounting for 13% of all residential broadband connections, more than doubling from 5% in November 2011. However, there is still some way to go to reach higher level of adoption. Ofcom also said a new milestone had been reached with unbundled phone lines used for both landline and copper-based broadband solutions. The number of homes able to get connections hit 9 million, a massive 70 times increase since 2005 when BT agreed to open up its infrastructure for wholesale opportunities. So you guys have only BT Telecom all over the state, all over the country, like we had AT&T here, and everybody has to get it from them?
Yeah, originally it was British Telecom owned the entire telecommunications cabling network. Everything was British Telecom. Then it got sold off and privatized, blah, 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 like they do, and, clean all that money. But they were forced to allow other companies to be able to use the infrastructure and the network and the exchanges back in 2005. Which obviously then, you've opened yourself up to competition, and there's just more and more and more and more. It just rakes the price right down. I was originally with BT, and then I switched over to what was it called now? I can't remember, but it was a 20 meg connection down up to, and that was utilizing. I can't remember who it was now, but this other companies put their own equipment into the exchange.
Right.
Even though it was still going down copper wires and everything else, but it was using this other company's hardware that BT didn't have, and therefore they could provide a much better service. But that's just exploded now, and you've got so many people or so many other companies that are using the infrastructure and the network and all the cabling and fiber optics and everything that's there, and adding to it, it just encourages all of them to compete on price, which is brilliant for the customer.
So does BT offer higher speed today? I mean, do they compete, or they are...
No, not really. They, like a lot of the other companies around the world, they just pocketed the money for years and years and years rather than improving and looking to the future and thinking what we're going to need in 5 years' time or 10 years' time. And then all of a sudden thinking, wow, we're falling way behind. Originally, in Europe, I think we had the best infrastructure. But you look at countries like Sweden where you've got 100 meg up and down as standard in every home. And you've got other ones like Belgium and everything else that they're installing all the fiber optics now. We're way behind. Because all that money was, basically pocketed and wasn't put back into building the infrastructure that was needed in the future. Now we're scrabbling to try and keep up.
Well, I can tell you in West Columbia, South Carolina, they're not trying at all.
Well, they won't unless they get competition. As soon as you get some major competition that's threatening you on price and giving somebody an option to switch, they'll be competing, definitely. Look what's happening with Google Fiber at the moment. AT&T are jumping back saying, well, we want the same kind of deal that Google are getting. Well, why weren't you offering that before? You're quite happy just to take the money, pocket it, and, give it out to your shareholders. But as far as improving the service for your customers, you weren't prepared to do it until you've had some competition. Now, all of a sudden, it's majorly important. Yeah, wake up and smell the coffee.
True. It's because they don't think.
Well, it's down to greed, a lot of it. No, we don't have to because people aren't pushing us to do it, and the customers will just have to accept what they're getting. Well, I'm sorry, but with the internet now, customers have a way of putting their point of view across and it being seen by potentially hundreds or even thousands in an area that all agree with you. I see as an example of that, I see the government has the British government has backed down on the snooping charter that they were trying to bring in, which was going to monitor everything to do with any communications that you have, whether it's voice, phone, cell phone, emails. The coalition, the Lib Dems or Liberal Democrats, which are the coalition of the government and the Conservatives, they were against it. And there was a fairly big public outcry about it and lots of emails going through. And they basically scrapped now because they realise that it's such a big deal that people will fight against it. So, I mean, I don't send anything, and I'm not really bothered about having my communications monitored. But if they're going to do it because it is making a difference with terrorism or child pornography or exploitation, whatever, then fine. To a degree, I'd have to say, yeah, I'm fine with that. But I don't like it when they lump all of these sort of terrorist acts and all these, child pornography and exploitation, whatever it might be, Save the Children, all this, that, and the other. They always seem to lump that together with whatever it happens to be, because it gets a reaction of, oh, perhaps we ought to do something then. Well, 9 times out of 10, it's not even a part of a 1% to do with what it is they're trying to lump all these things together. It's just that they want to get their own way to basically monitor everything. It's just quite scary.
And he's back.
There you are. Well,
Yes.
Hello.
So what did you do? What did you do?
Well, good morning. We're still in the process, so I won't know how much attention I'm going to pay. The car starts chugging, and then she thinks she can drive it, and then all of a sudden it clears, and she thinks she can drive it. It turns out that there is a Jiffy Lube within a mile or so of where she is. She's going to try to get it over there and see if they can pull a code on it. We can at least, hopefully, at that point, have an idea as to what's going on. There are no repair shops in Winston-Salem open on Sunday, and we can't even find a car rental shop that's open on Sunday.
Well, I wonder why.
I have no idea.
Is it like
Bible
cars
Belt?
Just,
Bible
cars
Belt.
just don't break down on.
I don't know.
AutoZone or any of those places that are open. Ours are open.
Yeah, AutoZone is open, but I mean, all they're going to do is, sell you parts. I mean, they don't.
What about AAA?
They'll tow you to some closed shop. She's already talked with AAA.
Well, I mean, they should. If the shop, the closest shop is in Raleigh, then what?
Then you get to pay $4 a mile after the first 3 miles.
Oh,
I don't know if you've seen this story. You were just talking about the Google Fiber thing. I'll put the link in chat here. But a rural phone company, the Vermont Telephone Company, is offering gigabit internet for $35 a month, half the price of Google's fiber's equivalent service. Interesting.
This spiraling effect is already in place.
Yeah, according to the
Well,
Wall Street Journal, VTEL currently covers 17,500 homes in Vermont and has 600 subscribers for its new service. It was able to update its Century Plus old infrastructure thanks to $94 million in federal stimulus money.
At least they finally put some of it to good use.
Yeah. So this is going to have to cause companies like Time Warner, Comcast, and other companies to fish or cut bait, don't you think?
Well, I don't know.
No, Time Warner's just going to be there with them old selves and provide crappy service at a ridiculous price.
Time Warner, I read an article last night in one of our hangouts. I read an article where Time Warner said that they are not concerned about the competition, that these people are just out overspending their resources. They're not really that concerned about it.
I tell you, it hasn't been done yet. Of course, you can find a lot of information about cord cutting on the internet, but we got a guy at Tech and Coffee, Robert Taylor, that's preparing a new Google Hangout show that's just going to be nothing but information about that. But I tell you what, with a Raspberry Pi XBMC, and there are all kinds of places where you can subscribe and get network television if you're concerned about being able to, get the network stuff as well as cable stuff. I mean, it's out there for the taking to anybody who take the time to dive into it and figure it out. So, and then you got this situation with Aereo, and so.
I just wanted to trickle down to our area.
One can only hope.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. I mean, it's the biggest disappointment that I had was whenever FiOS decided to stop rolling out in Durham and actually sold off their internet.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the 21st century to trickle down to Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah. Hey, Charles, did you talk to your neighbor?
Oh, you missed
missed
that.
it.
Yes, I went to the owner of the building. He negotiated with him, and there was some quid pro quo, and I now will have access within 2 weeks.
What, when you say negotiated with him, was this a positive thing? Did it work out okay?
Oh, positive. The guy causing the problem hated Time Warner. They screwed him up at his home. So he decided that when they came asking for right-of-way, he said, screw you and the horse you rode in on.
Right.
But there's a lot behind this building that belonged to the owner of this building. And the car place is across the street. So they're clearing that lot, going to give the guy access to park his excess vehicles over there. So I came out with just a few bucks, better than buying $3,000 phone pole to put it on.
Good.
Very good.
So what was it? What was
thank
the
you, Mike, for all the help you did for being getting email. You guys, he spent several hours working on evidently my Verizon MiFi, thanks to Tom Sinclair, did not go well with Time Warner. And Time Warner wouldn't let me send email. So he fixed that for me. It took him hours to do it, but I do appreciate that, Mike.
Nick, you were going to say?
Charles, what kind of issue were you having?
With I could receive mail, but I couldn't send it. And you have to ask Mike what the problem was, because I still don't get it.
Sounds like a POP server or an IMAP server.
Yeah, that was one of the
Actually, I have that at my school. Funny enough, through Time Warner, they block the sending of emails through the Time Warner mail service.
Yeah, well, what Mike did was hook me up with his server so I could send email.
Ah, well, there you go.
Yeah, when I get Time Warner in here, I'm not getting television. I have a high def box that goes with my old standard TV set that I can get all HD local TV from NBC, CBS, ABC, etc. The only thing I'm missing is TNT and Sci-Fi, and I get those on my computer with Hulu.
Well, there you go.
I still don't have my chat. So it's like being half deaf. You don't know what's going on.
So another big website was hacked, Living Social, this week. Over 50 million subscribers. Stuff was compromised. And I got my email from Living Social prompting me to go ahead and change my password. Any of you use Living Social?
No, I don't.
I have no idea what it is.
I have some friends that do.
Yeah.
What's Living Social, Bruce?
It's a social media thing. They provide you with, get up to 70% off, great deals on restaurants, stuff like that. And so that's basically how it works.
Now, Bruce, have you had success with them? Do you actually, use their coupon codes?
I don't use them, but like a lot of other people, when I hear about a new service, I'll sign up just to check it out and then never use it again. And that's basically me. So, but if I've got some information out there and it's been compromised, I certainly want to check it out.
So update us, Mike.
She made it to the Jiffy Lube. They have it on the rack, and they're going to pull the code.
Good.
Depending on what it is, it turns out that Merchant's Tire is apparently open on Sunday there. The question then becomes whether she can get to them, whether they can get to her, whether they can fix it. She's supposed to be in Charlotte at 2:00 for my daughter's wedding shower.
How far is she from there right now?
Hour and a half.
Oh, boy.
Mike, you say the car would run for a while and then it would cut off and then run for a
She
while.
can drive
and cut
a
off?
few feet and then it'll start hitting and missing. The check engine light flashes. Then it'll straighten out and drive fine. Then it'll start doing it again.
I used to write a syndicated column called Motor World, and that happened to be twice. It turned out to be the fuel filter was clogged.
Right.
It would push enough petrol in there to make it work. Just go about 50 feet, and then it would cut off again. And I had a sports car that did that. And the fuel filter took about 20 minutes to change after I got one. And it was just clogged with sand and debris.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds exactly like that, but this long distance, and she doesn't know anything, so at this long distance, I don't know. Just we'll have to wait and see. I wonder how accurate the computer will report what the problem is.
Oh, that's
they're normally pretty accurate, aren't they?
Yeah. It doesn't have to make decisions. It looks at the computer on the car, and that's black and white.
Well, any of you iPhone users that might be interested, here's a new case for you. You can pop open a cold one with your smartphone. And the case includes a free app that lets you track the number of bottles popped, play a certain song when you open a drink, and more. So,
Breathalyzer?
would you use your would you use your iPhone to pop a brewski, or I don't know.
I have a funny story about one of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, about a year ago for my father's birthday, we got him one of those for his phone.
Yeah.
And they're a terrible idea because when you open it up and the beer fizzes up, it fizzes all over your phone and completely destroys it. So I wouldn't suggest that to anybody. Not a good idea. But it's a great concept, but it's just, I mean, I don't think anybody wants a destroyed iPhone. Just
And
to open
that's
a
an
beer.
example of what you'll find on Living Social.
Yeah. Those are. I remember when those first came out, I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Nick, what would
Yes.
make it a great concept in your opinion?
What, the beer opener?
Yeah.
The bottle opener? It's not a great concept because you're mixing.
Oh, I thought you said it's a great concept, but
No, I think I think it is a good concept, but it's just not practical when mixing electronics with
Beer.
beer. Yes, exactly, and stuff that can it's like laying.
are there any beers or whatever these days that require a bottle opener, or are they all twist off?
I mean, Corona and I know all that stuff still requires bottle openers.
Now, how do you know that?
Because I have parents that are over 21.
Mm-hmm.
Good one, Mike.
Thank you.
I'm drinking right now.
Yeah, look at him.
Yeah, look at me.
A wealthy fool and his money are soon parted.
That's called the Andrew effect.
The Andrew effect, yes. Yeah, I don't think it's ever good to mix electronics with liquids. It's never a good combo.
Yeah, it's like the water cooling that seemed to be all the rage a few years ago. I suppose there's still a bit of a rage about it now, but when water cooling for PCs first came out, I was like, are you mad? You're going to put water and pumps and tubes and all that kind of stuff in your PC? You're a lunatic.
There's have you seen the oil the fish tank computers yet?
Yeah,
about those?
there's some I don't know, fluid, chemical, whatever it might be, that they can immerse the entire electronics into it.
Yeah, it's
Scary.
mineral oil.
It's what?
It's mineral oil. People make computers that are they normally take a fish tank, they cut out the pieces for the components, and then they fill the whole thing with mineral oil. And your computer will run just fine, and it doesn't affect the lifespan of it at all.
And you do it for... I don't understand.
Because
mineral oil doesn't conduct electricity.
Why would you do that?
Because it keeps it cool.
Oh, okay, for cooling.
Because mineral oil doesn't conduct electricity, you can completely, fill a tank with it and put electronic components in it, and it won't.
I wonder if it stays under warranty.
Yeah, I mean, they're just components.
If you have something go wrong under warranty, you just send it off with a box of Kleenex.
Yeah, that's one thing is you can't when you decide to make a mineral oil PC, you're stuck there. You can't put it in a soft case again because of all the.
How would virgin olive oil work?
Does it conduct electricity?
I don't know.
If it doesn't conduct electricity, it'll work.
Don't know.
Hey, we reached a milestone this week. For the first time ever, smartphones are outselling feature phones. 51.6% of the total mobile phone market in this most recent quarter was smartphones.
Feature phone?
Right. A smartphone versus a feature. A feature phone is just like, you can have some internet access and stuff like that, but it's not a smartphone. And of course, the leader in smartphone sales is Samsung.
Yep. That's one market that Apple does not. That's another market that Apple doesn't.
Yeah.
Just like
and the
PC
Galaxy
market.
S4 supposed to be available for purchase. Is it available now in some carriers?
I think it's through AT&T. You can get it now.
Yeah.
You know, I was really looking forward to the to the S4, but there wasn't anything that, you know, made me want to get the S4 over the Note 2. I mean, the only thing that they really added was, you know, like taking pictures with the front facing and back facing camera. Really,
and some of those features are going to end up being available on your Note 2 anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really wanted a bigger phone.
Yeah.
Remember in the beginning we were somebody was asking, what do we think about Windows 8? Can't remember who it was, but here's another story. It says, during a recent trip to an eye doctor, I noticed that she was still using Windows XP. After I suggested that she might need to upgrade soon, she said she couldn't because she couldn't afford the $10,000 fee involved with the specialty medical software that has been upgraded for Windows 7. Software written for medical professionals is not like mass market software. They have a limited market and can't make back their money in volume because there isn't the volume for an eye doctor's database product like there is for Office or Quicken. With many expecting Microsoft upcoming end of support for XP to cause a security nightmare of unsupported Windows devices in the wild, it seems a good time to ask how many users may fall into the category of wanting an upgrade, but being priced out by expensive but necessary third-party software. More importantly, can anything be done about it? In my opinion, you keep using what you got. And who's echoing?
I hear that.
Oh. You know, keep using it.
Yeah, there's no reason not to, right?
Right.
I mean, obviously there's no feature that the eye doctor can't get from, Windows 8. It's not like there's a needed feature there.
Right.
So there's no problem with XP. I still use XP. I still run it in a in a virtual machine for a few programs.
Bruce, what are you highly recommending?
If you have a Galaxy Note 2, there's this Korean guy who's been in the Samsung stores there in Korea, and he's a super guy, but he puts out videos on a really regular basis, and it's all dedicated to the Note 2. And they're just tons of great videos there. I subscribe to his channel. I follow him on Twitter, so I get notified whenever there's a new video. Is that the
Daily Note 2 guy?
Right, yeah.
Okay, I need to subscribe to him. I forgot his name, though.
Yeah, but Lucid Mike 78 on YouTube, and really good stuff.
Well, I will have to subscribe. Now, so now with me just recently getting the Note 2, what would be the one tip that you would suggest, or one app or something that you would suggest to me? Watching all of his videos and everything, is there any tip or app that you would suggest?
Well, I mean, I like the titanium backup, as I mentioned earlier. For backup, you have to be rooted to use that.
Yep.
Probably the biggest thing that I've picked up from him is a lot of things that you wouldn't necessarily know about the Note 2 that are not commonly known things. I've also enjoyed learning how and what are the best Bluetooth keyboards, Bluetooth mice to pair to it. So I can take my Note 2, put it in my little stand that I use to mount it horizontally, or that wallet case that you have, and pair a Bluetooth keyboard, a Bluetooth mouse, and my Bluetooth headset. Now, the only problem, if I'm listening to music on the Bluetooth headset at the time, and I start wiggling around the mouse, the music will kind of mess up, because three devices, all pairing at the same time.
Yeah, there's only so much bandwidth for Bluetooth.
Yeah. But his videos are divided into tips and tricks, a lot of different things. So
I'll have to definitely check them out.
Yeah.
Now, do we all remember how T-Mobile said that there's no more contracts and all that?
Yep.
Well, Washington State Attorney General Bob Ferguson on Thursday ordered Un-carrier T-Mobile to correct deceptive advertising that promised consumers no annual contracts while carrying hidden charges for early termination of phone plans. T-Mobile, which recently did away with the standard cell phone service contracts and typical smartphone subsidies, is accused of misleading consumers by advertising no contract wireless plans despite requiring that consumers sign an agreement that makes them responsible for the full cost of their handsets should they cancel service prematurely. Why is it just in Washington State? I don't understand. That's a contract.
Yeah. I think it's maybe just yeah, that's weird that it's only in Washington.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they have some weird state law that protects people against that or something.
Well, good. It's that rule should be in every state. Yeah. Steve?
Yes.
Oh, you're here. Okay. Just
I find it very difficult to get my head around this state law and then federal law. I mean, I thought we had it bad with, England, Ireland, Scotland, well, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales.
Well, now you got now you got EU laws.
Well, not so much. I mean, there are, but the vast majority of them aren't laws. They're just like made as a guideline. It's up to the individual country whether they adhere to them or not. Which is like, what's the point in having the EU Parliament and government then that we're paying £8 billion a year to be in when you don't have to actually take the law that they're telling you to take? It's like, what a waste of money. Put me in to run it. I'll soon sort things out.
Steve, does the UK have European currency? What do you call it?
No, we stuck with the Great British Pound. We never went with the euro.
Yeah.
And I really hope to goodness that we never ever do either. The Great British Pound is, or the pound, or Great British Pound GDP is has been on the money exchanges and is very well respected. So I'm glad they didn't go to the euro.
Hey. Oh. So we didn't have any specials today.
Well, is anyone out there that's in the chat room or that is called in? If you've seen any special offers this week, by all means share them. Type them in or call in on 919-518-9773 and share them with the rest of the people that are here participating.
Let's see, who just called in?
Pete.
Who's that?
Did you get that?
Oh, Pete.
I just caught the subject of T-Mobile.
We can hardly hear you. Pete, speak up.
Why isn't it a contract? What company is going to ask for a down payment on a phone and expect you to pay plus month, plus your plan, a per month token toward the price of the phone? What company is going to let you out the door with a $700 product without some sort of a contract?
Very
to
true.
Make sure you pay for it. Why isn't it a contract? Saw that when I first saw the first commercial. It made sense.
Okay.
You may not have a contract under the phone, under the plan, but you got a contract on the phone. So,
But you shouldn't because it's unsubsidized.
But you still got to, it's like signing a contract for a car. You got to pay for it.
If you've already paid for it, then you don't sign a contract. If you go to a dealership and you buy a car and you pay cash or credit card or whatever,
it's yours.
Yeah. Well, that's what they do here. They charge the consumer the full value of the phone right up front.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to do it that way, but if you look at their website, you can pay $49 or $59 down and $20 or $40 or $50 a month against the price of the phone. If you look at the website, you'll see that under the plans.
I see.
And that's what happens.
So it's like they're
not going to give it to you and let you walk off with it.
No, yeah, I understand. So it's like they're selling it, but they are financing it.
Exactly.
Oh,
but you're
okay.
Just not charging you interest on it. But if you drop, you either got to return the phone,
yeah,
or you get charged the balance of the phone plus the out of contract, dumping the contract.
I got you.
I don't see the difference. Unless you pay cash for the phone, that's the only way to get.
Yeah. No, I mean that makes sense. That makes sense.
Still a contract. It's amazing how many ways we can split a hair or skin the cat.
Hey, Bruce, are you pulling out at noon?
Actually, no, I won't be pulling out at noon today.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting on this whole contract issue. There are going to be, within the next few months and ongoing, a lot of inexpensive jelly bean smartphones coming out of China that you're going to be able to purchase for like $200. Now, they may not have quite the hardware specs that a Galaxy S4 does, but there are going to be a lot of opportunities to buy a really decent Android jelly bean phone for a small amount of money that's going to enable people to avoid these contracts. Just like with the HTC One, you could buy that for like $300, something like that, and avoid contracts altogether. So unless you're just really wanting to have the latest and greatest phone from some of the major manufacturers, there are going to be some opportunities to avoid contracts altogether, whether you're going with T-Mobile or AT&T or anybody else.
And this is how the Chinese are going to start controlling us.
Yeah, they're going to have some interesting stuff embedded in it.
Yeah,
no, I don't.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I like what Steve says. Contract. Interesting discussion that we had on a show that I do with some other guys called Our Android Week. We've seen a lot of developments. The Galaxy S4 has come out. And it's got all kinds of new features like group play. And there's a lot of stuff that people are probably interesting, but people are probably not going to use that frequently. And but how far can an operating system go on a mobile device that's going to really make it compelling for you to want to switch and buy the new device? I mean, I know there's a business model here, trying to get people to stay within the genre of a particular carrier or a particular hardware company to try to get you to keep buying and buying and buying, or maybe some planned obsolescence where device is just not set to last very long, and so you'll have to buy another device. But I'll tell you, this Samsung Galaxy Note 2 is such a great device. I'm wondering, what do I really need? What can they really offer me in a new operating system or hardware on a mobile device that's going to make it as compelling to move from this device as it was to move from my iPhone 4? Maybe this is a phone I might keep beyond my contract. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think almost making these phones disposable at some point. I think that the first thing that needs to happen is obviously the price needs to go down. I mean, if they want you to be upgrading these phones right when your 2-year contract goes out, they can't be charging you $300 for it. I mean, that's just a ridiculous price to pay every 2 years or so for a phone. But I do think that eventually the price will come down enough that you will be guaranteeing yourself by buying a new phone every single time your contract's up.
That's how it was up till now.
Yeah.
But it gets to a point where I understand what else can they add to it?
Yeah, exactly. And how can they keep that price down?
And these phones are really lasting a long time. Else you'd never have companies like Gazelle and now others like them. They're coming out of the woodwork now. I'm beginning to see television commercials for companies now that want to buy your old device. Even the carriers will. You go into AT&T, they'll buy your old iPhone 4 and give you a pretty decent price for it. So these phones are not just tossed. They don't pay $125 for an iPhone 4. I mean, there's a business model for these phones because they last a long time. Right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I'm just sitting here thinking about, okay, what can they come out that's really compelling enough to make me want to move from what for me right now has been the best phone / tablet I've ever owned. And I can tell Nick is still in the Note 2 honeymoon because I see the top of his cap a lot as he's looking down at it.
Yeah. There's only one disadvantage to the Note 2. I cannot use it during class anymore. It's just too big.
You mean it's hard to be clandestine with it?
Yeah. It's not easy.
Well, then you're going to have to invest in Google Glass. But your school won't let you wear Google Glass either, probably.
It's okay. The school's still using Windows 95 on all their PCs, so they're not moving with the technology anytime soon.
Did anyone see that report about Google Glass and the technology that it's using is basically from 2011?
Yeah, it's an older version of Android. Was it 4.0 or something?
Yeah, and also the technology and the hardware in it is from 2011. So it's not cutting edge, as it were. The problem, I think, with a lot of these devices now is that it seems to have reached a brick wall where it can't really get any thinner because of the battery technology that there is. The resolution, I suppose that could be upgraded, but then in a portable device, do you want really that higher resolution? Because you aren't going to be able to read it because it's so small.
Exactly.
The processor power, if they increase that by a large margin, you're then looking at a cooling problem, the amount of RAM that's in it. Fine, you can put in a micro SD card. I don't think there's anything that they can really do that's innovative enough.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing right now is, look, how long is it going to be before you're walking around with a laptop-sized, cell phone? But like you said, Steve, the problem is battery. I mean, the battery technology, as advanced as battery technology is just absolutely terrible. They can't fit. They can't make the batteries A, small enough, and B, durable enough to last a long time.
They are moving forward with battery technology, but at the point where it actually gets into the devices that we're able to go out and buy, we're still years off of that, probably 5 years before it comes into devices that we're able to get our hands on. We've got so small with these devices now, and fine, we're going up with slightly bigger devices, but again, there's only so much that you can cram into a small space, and it's still usable. There's nothing that I've seen that, and I try and keep up with most technology things, but there's nothing that I've seen on the horizon that is going to make it into a new device or something that's going to be available in a few months or maybe even next year. That's going to say, "Oh, that's a must-have thing. I need to upgrade," which we've had up to this point. But we've reached kind of a a brick wall in that there's nothing new out there that's going to make it a I must have. And let's keep up with the Joneses, and all my friends are buying this. I need to buy it too. There's nothing new out there at all. We've reached a standoff, really.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the original iPhone, and then you look at the iPhone 5, and I mean, what's changed? It's a little bit thinner,
Rounded corners.
the rounded corners, and the screen's bigger. I mean, and that's not a diss on Apple, but with all smartphones, I mean, they're thinner. The screens are bigger, and they have rounded corners, and that's over 5, 6, 7 years. So it's innovation in smartphones has hit a brick wall.
I'll tell you, one of the things that does intrigue me in some new hardware is, and don't anybody laugh, but the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. The international version comes with a cell radio, 4G type cell radio. That version is not available in the United States. You can go to Best Buy and buy a Samsung Galaxy Note 8 for $400. But would it be interesting to figure out a way to buy an international version of the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 and have this 8-inch tablet with phone capability, using a Bluetooth device, would be kind of interesting. And then you'd have a no contract situation there, and a tablet with phone abilities.
Yeah. Now, Bruce, for you, would you be somebody that would use an 8-inch phone tablet as your everyday phone, or is that what size is your cutoff for a phone?
Well, you know what I mean.
Bruce, your hands aren't big enough, are they?
The main thing with the phone is where you carry it. I mean, my Samsung Galaxy Note 2 lays on my desk. If I get a call, I swipe to answer, tap speaker, and I'm using it hands-free. Or if I'm driving in the car, I'm already paired to the Bluetooth device, and it's writing in my car carrier. If I had a Samsung Galaxy Note 8, it would be sitting on my desk. I would answer calls the same way. If I was driving in my car, I'd be sitting on the seat next to me. I'd be paired Bluetooth. I would answer calls the way I do with my Note 2. So the only real difference is how I would carry it. And so instead of carrying it in my pocket when I'm walking, I'd have to carry it in a different way. I'd be like carrying a small paperback, in a case similar to what you're using for your Note 2. But I rarely hold my Note 2 up to my face to make a call.
Yeah, I a few times I have, but it's
no big deal.
No, it isn't. I mean, people are like, "Oh, you're holding a tablet," but I mean, when you think you're really not. I mean, yes, it's a lot bigger than the iPhone, but in retrospect, how much bigger is it? I mean, if you look at these two phones, side by side right here, really, how big of a difference is there? I mean, yes, there's a small difference, but you're not tripling or quadrupling the size of the phone. I mean, it fits inside the screen and everything. So it's not that big of a device that people make it out to be.
Yeah. Now look at my video right now. This is the typical way that I would hold my phone when I'm making a call. You can barely see that phone in my hand. Now, if you're off to the side, obviously it's a little bit bigger. Yeah. But straight on, I mean, it's no big deal.
I think it has a lot to do with the case as well. It depends what kind of case you have.
Bruce, do you really care what it looks like?
I could care less.
Right.
When you ought to see when I go to the coffee house and I set this thing in my little book gem landscape holder, and then I've got this little go bag, this little small bag that I bought at Lowe's, and so I'll sit down at a table. There's one table at the coffee house that's kind of the community table. Unless you've got it reserved, anybody can sit there. And I'll put my phone in this little landscape thing, and then I'll pull out the Bluetooth keyboard, and then I'll pull out the mouse. And then one time last week, I pulled out the ATR 2100 in its stand and the dongle, and I set this all up there, and there's other people at the desk. And what's really cool, there was a guy across the table from me. His name is Dom. He and his brother, or he and his friend, had just got a radio show canceled, and he was pretty despondent. But I could tell he was curious in what I was doing, pulling out all this gear for this phone. And we had an interesting conversation about audio and so forth and so on. But
You need to send them here.
Yeah. Well, he's following him on Twitter now, so he got my tweet this morning about the show if he's checked his Twitter feed.
Steve, were you going to say something before? I think I heard you.
Possibly, but I can't remember what it was now.
It's all right. Never mind. Never mind. Mike, any updates?
Yes, it's a code P0303 P1310.
Oh, no, it's not one of them, surely.
And?
She's at Merchant's Tire in Winston-Salem.
They don't know what it means?
It means that there's a misfire on cylinder number 3.
So not an easy fix then is what you're saying.
Well, it could be. Apparently there's a coil on the spark plug as well as the spark plug in the wire.
Right.
If they can replace those quickly, then she should be good to go. She's waiting to see if they're willing to A, fix it, and B, if they are, how quickly.
Bummer.
But interestingly enough, Amnon, you and I use Imperial.
Yeah.
Adam actually talked to the guy at Jiffy Lube in Winston-Salem who read the codes, and they concurred on what they mean.
So you got Adam.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Adam's the owner of the shop that Amnon and I use.
Oh.
So it remains to be seen. If it's something they can do in a hurry, they'll charge us 14 times normal price. But if it's something they can get done and makes the code go away, so apparently it's not going to mess up the car to drive it. That's what they think.
No, it doesn't. I mean, and besides, it takes forever to
But,
miss something.
well,
how many cylinders is the engine?
I think it's 4.
Well, then one could do some damage.
It may be a 6.
But did they say how? So it's misfiring. Is that why she was hearing the? She said she could drive it for a little bit, and then she was hearing the thumping.
It would start and stop.
So it would start and stop misfiring.
On a 4-cylinder, if one of them is misfiring, you feel it. It's like it's a big.
It's a fourth of the engine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they do say it's drivable, so she could potentially drive it if they can't fix it.
No, not really. I don't know that I would want her driving it all the way back to
No, she
Ollie.
shouldn't. Not on a 4-cylinder.
If anything, I don't know. We tend to drive cars for a long time, so you have to deal with this kind of nonsense. Our favorite brand is Paid For.
Yep.
Apparently, it's a 6-cylinder.
Well,
they use the same codes for 6 cylinders.
I would assume they'd be different codes for 4 and 6 cylinders. They'd probably be named differently.
Cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Which car is it?
The Lexus.
Yeah, it's a 6. I'm sure.
I don't know.
No.
The next phone call will be the critical one.
She has a credit card, right?
Money call?
Say again?
She has a credit card, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
So did we come to the end of the show?
I don't know, have we?
I don't know.
Give me the real quick short story again on what happened with Charles.
His landlord worked out the details with that guy that didn't want to give him access, and everything is fine.
The guy that didn't want to give him access owns an auto repair shop, and there's an
Across
empty
the
lot
street,
that
yeah.
the owner of the building owns. And it was the quid pro quo was he's going to clear that lot and give the auto guy an opportunity to park his cars that are waiting for repair back there, and in exchange for them giving the right of way to Time Warner.
Mm-hmm.
Probably something he should have done before anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
the good
I
thing
mean,
about it, I mean, I don't know if he's got a contract with the guy or it's just a verbal agreement or how far that goes. But at some point, if the owner of the empty
Verbal
lot wanted
agreement.
to do something with it, I don't know what he would have to do with the auto shop owner. But by then, the cable issue is over. It's a done deal.
There's no going back.
okay, so Merchants is going to replace the part for $254.
Which part? The coil?
The coil pack.
Yeah.
I've been trying to read up on it.
Yeah, it's like instead of having one coil like we used to in the old cars, now every spark plugs has its own little coil, and they call it a coil pack. So you have 6 coils.
1305, open or short in the IGF or the IGT circuit, a faulty ignition coil or igniter, a faulty ECM, check the ignition IGT signal, da-da-da-da-da, that's dirty
So anyway,
talk.
so they're going to change, well...
$254. And
that's
they can
if
do
that's what the problem is.
Right, but this is consistent with what I'm finding on the internet as well.
Okay. All right.
So at least, I don't expect people to be perfect on fixing cars, but I don't expect them to burn me on Sunday just because nobody else is open.
That's about right.
I think so too. I mean, it's not a cheap car.
Right.
And most importantly, as they say, that she will be on her way in about an hour after the part gets there, and they've gone to get the part, and they think it's in stock apparently.
And is she going to drive there or get towed?
No, she's already at the shop.
Oh, so she said an hour after she gets there.
After the part gets there.
Oh, after the part gets there. Yeah, they
so
have
if
to
it works out that well, that's fine. I mean, again, if you drive old cars, and which I come out like a bandit because, I mean, this thing's been paid for. We've been driving it probably for 7 or 8 years. It's a 2000.
Yeah, it's fine.
What car is it?
It's a Lexus RX 300. Which she loves it. She absolutely loves it.
That's what counts.
Well, she has hip issues. She's actually had 2 hips replaced. She can get in and out of that car with no issues at all. It just fits her like a glove. I mean, she had a Honda Civic, an 85, 86 Honda Civic we bought new, that she drove it for 250,000 miles. And at the time we were ready to junk it, she was ready to spend $3,000 or $4,000 on it to get it repaired because she loved the car so much.
Oh.
I offered to buy her a new one. She said, nope. It's not just her being noble. She gets used to her car. She likes it, and she wants it to run.
Sure.
Seats are in great shape. The paint job's in great shape. Not a lot of nicks and dings on it, things like that. I mean, if you're a Lexus person, you understand it's not a new one, but to the casual person, it's hard to tell from a new one.
The RX 300. That's an SUV, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, next week we may have somebody from Microsoft calling in to talk about something about healthcare.
They're actually getting into that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why, but I'm all for anybody getting into healthcare because we've got problems on the horizon, as we all know.
Bruce, you going to be here next week?
I think I play next week.
Okay.
Maybe I can get in between times, but it would be by voice only.
Yeah, I think they were saying that she's going to call between 9:30 and 10:30. I said I need a more precise time, just in case. So they didn't answer yet.
Got a question. I have an HP laptop, and I need to redo my C drive completely because this thing's stopped. It's at a crawl. It's water flowing uphill is faster, and I can't find the disk. They sit along with it. Can you get that downloaded or?
No.
Well,
Are you sure it doesn't have a restore partition?
Oh, it might have a restore partition. I haven't looked.
When you boot, does it say hit F11 or F12 or something like that to go into the boot partition?
There's a bunch of text on the left-hand side of the screen, which I don't pay attention to.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay attention to anything on the screen.
When you say the disc that it came along with, are you sure it did come with discs, or are you just assuming?
It's got it's got the operating system disk.
Right, because very often they didn't come with the OS disk and the utilities disk and the driver's disk, whatever it might be. As Mike was saying, they come with a recovery partition. So unless you specifically remember there were disks in the box that were Microsoft disks, it's very unusual.
Let's put it this way. You're not going to be able to download the OS. You will be able to download the drivers.
I just had a thought. I don't know why I haven't thought about this before. But if you right-click on my computer.
Yeah,
icon,
you should be able to see it.
And then go to the Manage button, right-click on my computer, then go to Manage. It'll bring up the Computer Management menu. One of the selections on the left side is called Disk Management. And what it will show you is all of the partitions on your hard drive. So even if you have a hidden restore partition, it will show up in the Manage function.
You don't have to go to storage?
Just disk management. It's under storage, yes, but it's mine are already expanded. If you have to expand them, you would go to Computer Management, expand storage, and then click on Disk Management.
Well, I've got, this is Vista, and it says Computer, and you right-click on that. You've got Manage, and I click on Manage. Excuse me. And it says Windows needs Computer Management Snap-in Launcher. Continue.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah.
How old is the computer?
Let's see, I think I got about 5 years ago.
Then it probably still has a disk. I don't
System,
think...
tools, storage, and services and applications. System, tools, storage, services, and applications.
Go to storage.
Right.
Then under storage, disk management.
It says more actions. Help.
No, I mean, Bruce is showing it to you on the screen.
Oh, yeah, Bruce has got an HP computer as well.
Okay, I'm looking for that.
I think he's got that Vista crap where it's actually asking you to give your blood cell count before you can click on the next menu or something.
Please enter your inside leg measurement.
Oh, boy.
Well, I've done that. Nothing clicks up. Connecting to virtual disk service.
Yes, that's what you want. It'll say that, and then the list will pop up.
Loading disk configurations information. Here we go. Let's see. Basic disk 1, disk 2. Oh, I've got something called HP Recovery.
There you go.
That's
There you
it.
go.
Looks like it.
Now, what do I do with that?
I'm not sure how you get to it on the HP, but before we say anything else, just recall that if you run that, it wipes everything off your hard drive.
You need to back up what you need first. You need to back up what you need on regular basis, Charles.
Yeah.
But all you would have to do at this point is probably hit F8. Once you have backed it up, hit F8 when it's booting, and it'll go to the menu, the startup menu, and I think the first one on top will be repair your computer. And just follow the prompts.
Yeah, plus there's a way that you can create recovery disk, which I have done.
Right.
So if and of course this would take me back to Windows 7, which the the desktop originally came with. But
Yeah, there should be a facility in there to create CDs, and they actually encourage you to do that.
oh yeah,
And I think you can only do it once, right?
probably.
And then
Yeah,
it
all the
will
ones I've done,
make
it's only once.
yeah, it'll make the CD or the DVD for you, and from then on you would have it. Of course, you
Yeah.
can make copies of whatever the machine produces and have more copies of it. Did you use CCleaner?
Oh, I loaded it, and I still don't have chat loading.
Did you use CCleaner?
No, I downloaded it and
All right,
did not.
so you need to run it, and then you also need to run your antivirus, anti-malware. What are you using?
Something you guys recommended, and I can't think of the name of it offhand.
Security Essentials.
Malware Bytes.
Malware Bytes is only running when you're running it. You shouldn't run it as a residence. You should have something else running on the computer, like maybe you have Defender running right now. On Vista, I think it came with Defender.
I've got AVG.
You have AVG?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing you want to do is uninstall AVG, and I'll bet you that will speed up the machine.
Really? Okay.
And if you like AVG, just reinstall it. Everything will be fine.
I've got a question
But-
for you, Charles. Is it the only machine that you have that to use, or is it just one machine that you can?
I have
utilize?
2 laptops and 2 desktops.
Okay,
But this is my main computer. I use this all the time.
right, and that's running Vista, you say?
Yep.
And what did the other ones run as an operating system?
Windows 7, another Vista machine, and XP.
Okay. The problem if you've got more than one device and you've got one that's relatively new, the ones that are 2 or 3 years or 4 or 5 years old will appear a heck of a lot slower because you've been used to using one that's nice and quick and zippy. It's just your perception of it because you're also using one that's nice and fast. It may only be taking 1 or 2 seconds longer. But, to you, when you're sort of drumming your fingers, saying, come on, the other one did it faster than that. It sort of digs into your subconscious where you sort of think, well, this really is a dinosaur. What can I do to speed it up? And it's not really worth a lot of trouble and effort because it's not going to be as fast as the one that you have been using, which is Windows 7.
My XP is faster than this Vista machine now. When I first got it, it was grease lightning. And
Yeah.
I only use the Windows 7 machine is about a 14-inch I take out with me when I need a computer. And this thing I used to write a syndicated column on computers, and this thing is full of pieces of computer programs I downloaded, wrote reviews about, and haven't been able to get them all off. So wiping the C drive completely clean and reloading it seems like a lot of trouble, but it has to do something to speed this thing up. It's not just seconds; it's minutes.
Is it Vista?
Vista.
I believe I'd find a copy of Windows 7 because if it'll run Vista, it'll run Windows 7.
I have Windows 7 Ultimate. My nephew worked for Microsoft, and he got this nice $360-some program for like $20.
Yeah, a lot of companies can do. Major companies can do that. And if I were you, and you have that not installed on anything,
No, it's sitting in the box.
okay. If I were you, I would do 2 things. Number 1 is I would go get, and I'll help you do this if you need me to. I would get, help me guys, Terabyte Unlimited, image for Linux, and create a bootable CD. I would boot to that CD, make an image of that hard drive to an external USB drive. I would make an image of that image, that Vista image, to an external USB drive so that you will forever and eternally have everything that's on that drive. I would then completely wipe out that computer and install Windows 7 Ultimate on it. Then we can transfer that image file back to your hard drive, and you can grab whatever files you need that you did not get. I would make 3 things I would do. The first thing I would do is what you should always do, and that is have backups of all your important data on that Vista computer. Make sure you have everything you need. Then when I make this image, then I would make this image backup. That's in case you thought you got everything and didn't get it, and this will allow you to go to that and get it. And then Windows 7 on that machine, you may have to fight some drivers and things, but I believe it will work. The good news is if it doesn't work, you can go back to your old image in the worst case scenario.
Brilliant advice, Mike. Definitely back up, as you suggest there. But I would suggest also running the software check from Windows 7 to say, is my machine capable or up to par to run Windows 7? You need to make sure that you've got a reasonable amount of hard drive space and also RAM. And if you haven't, is it worth upgrading the RAM? Is it worth upgrading, putting a bigger hard drive in there? You're looking at 5-year-old technology. It may be just better off to go and get a second-hand or whatever, a refurbished machine. You're trying to sort of prop up an old piece of kit that isn't really capable of running something that's a bit more modern. But certainly back up the first port, I would say yes. And possibly try to restore partition. If it doesn't make a big improvement, then you've not really lost anything, have you?
The problem with restoring Vista is you still got Vista.
True, but then if you want to put 7 on it, you need a reasonable amount of RAM and a fair bit of hard drive space. If it's a 5-year-old machine, it could be tiny amounts.
I've got 2 gig of RAM and room for more.
Well, 2 gig of RAM should be all right. Hard drive space, I imagine it's probably, 250 hard drive, something like that.
Yeah, 250 hard drive.
It should be fine for Windows 7. We'll run the Windows 7 compatibility checker and see what it comes back with and says.
Where do I find that?
On the Microsoft site. In fact, if you put Windows 7 disk in, it'll actually ask to run the compatibility checker first. It's actually on there on the boot screen. But as Mike says, first port of call is to back up to an external drive so you've got it all before you start messing around.
And the other thing that I would do before starting messing around, I'd go to the website and see if they have drivers for Windows 7. And download them and put them on a thumb drive or something.
Okay. My main programs are Corel Draw and Vid Blaster. Let's see.
Mike, are you typing in the chat?
I am.
I guess my chat is not working either.
No, it's private chat.
Oh, okay.
Brent sent me a link on...
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure.
Now, Brent sent me a link on YouTube on a guy troubleshooting these coil packs, and that's always interesting.
276 gigabyte total, 115 gigabyte free on my C drive.
You're good. But make sure you got backups.
Yep.
A window keeps popping up saying, back up your machine, click here.
Maybe, maybe not.
I wouldn't click that. There's no Windows feature that asks you to back up.
I know it's something that downloaded, so I just cut it off.
Yeah.
Dear.
All right, guys, I gotta head out.
All right.
Thanks for
Take
having me
care,
on.
Nick. Mike,
care.
are you gonna be with me tonight? Mike?
Hmm.
Are you going to be with me? Are you going to?
I think Nick's going to do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I should be around for it.
That's fine. All right.
I'll send you an email when I know for sure, Amna.
All right.
And you too, Mike.
And if he doesn't, I will.
All right.
Have a good week, everybody, and I'll talk to you next week.
Take care.
Brush your hair.
See you, Dick. Bye.
See ya.
Now, Mike, you say make an image of my C drive?
Correct.
Onto what? DVD?
Charles, I'm going to be kind of busy today. If you're not in a gigantic hurry, why don't you and I connect offline, and I'll talk you through how to do it. The main thing you need is an external hard drive. Do you have an external hard drive with some space available on it?
I've got a 160 gig hard drive, external.
That should work. As long is it empty?
Well, I backed up information on my C drive. All my data is on there,
Right.
not the programs.
So long as the compressed version of the image will fit on there, it will be fine.
Okay, well, I'll have to read up on that because I don't know a thing
Yeah,
about
I'll
it.
send you an email on it, and so you can look at it and see, and I can talk you through it. And you have to be able to download a program and burn a disk to be able to use it.
That I can do, and I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
One of my clients has a computer store, and he said for $60 he will clean off my drive and download the data.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
If you never done it before, wait, but you should learn how to do this.
Yeah, I need to learn how to do this. And Mike, I appreciate you offering to help.
Is your email still working?
Oh, it's working fine. Thank you very much. When I get Time Warner, I need to switch it back over to Time Warner, so I'm not taking up your resources.
Yeah, it's no big deal. I guess then this computer worked fine when you took it to the library?
Oh, worked fine, yes.
Okay.
I haven't taken it to the library since you fixed it because I've got this MiFi, which is now working at 3G. So nice not having to go to the library and plug in and undo all the computer and stuff like that. Just time consuming. I'd be very happy to have Time Warner in here, and I'm not a Time Warner fan. But being without Wi-Fi, about internet, high-speed internet access for over a month before I got hooked up with the library and this, terrible. You get used to using internet.
In other words, you're addicted.
Yes, I am.
Yes. Well, you're among good company.
Well, I know that. That's why I spend hours every Sunday listening to you guys.
Oh.
Well, if we are done, let's knock it in the head.
Yeah, I think we're done.
Happy
Yeah,
trails.
sorry about all the disruption, but that's the way things happen.
That's why this show has that reality TV component to it. It makes it very interesting and compelling.
Yep. What we should have done is had her on Skype on her phone, and we should have had her interviewing the guy across the counter and interviewing everyone along the way.
Well, knowing you, if this situation all turns out really good, I'm sure you'll be right on it and showing some social media appreciation for the entities that helped with the rescue.
You know what? I'm quick to criticize, but I'm also quick to compliment.
Absolutely.
And if they do a good job, then more power to them. And particularly if they get her in and out in time. And I mean, she's had a I was going to pick on her this morning when she logged in because she left Friday to go to Winston-Salem because she had a school reunion with a bunch of her high school friends, and she spent a lot of time and did a lot of work and was able to get quite a few of them to show up who they've not seen since high school. And these girls were at a private school. I mean, they were very, very close. And then everybody goes out and life gets in the way and things turn around and you're 30 years down the road. And so all that or more. And so she was really excited about that. And she got there and seemed to have a real good crowd and everything was going real well. But then she has to leave there to go up to Charlotte to my daughter's shower, the second one up there. And strangely enough, is the fact that I was going to mention this, Bruce, is when you go out of town, how often do you call your wife? Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
I usually call her every day at around 5 o'clock when I'm on my way home from the home office back to my motel.
I haven't heard a word from her since she left.
She must be having a great time then.
I just told her I did text her a couple of times, and she did answer the text, very short and sweet, and so that just at least I knew she wasn't in jail
Yet.
Yeah, she didn't want that. She didn't want that guy next to her to see that she was married.
Yeah, I just don't come back pregnant.
It's good that she's having so much fun, and I imagine reminiscing is brilliant.
Yeah, I imagine so, but I hope she's had a good time. At least now I know when I'm out traveling, I don't have to stress out about calling her every night.
Oh no! You got that totally wrong. It doesn't work the other way, Mike.
Oh, okay. I'm still obligated, in other words.
We do communicate in a couple other ways. My wife and I have this thing we started about a year ago, reading books together. We pick a book that we want to read, and I read it, and then we talk about it a little bit. And even when I'm traveling, we'll do that. We'll usually use Skype to do that. And the other thing we do in communication while I'm away is we're big NCIS fans. So if there's a new episode of NCIS on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m., I'll be watching it in the motel. She'll be watching it, but we'll be interacting on Skype about what we think about the episode. So,
yeah.
Sick, huh?
Well, no, this strange because she and I have never read the same book since Michelle Phillips wrote a book about the mamas and the papas in the 70s. But she reads fan fiction and a bunch of junk I don't care about, and she has no interest in reading the stuff that I read on all sorts of things. But in fact, we went to my daughter's other shower in Charlotte last weekend, which is why I wasn't here. Was I? I wasn't here, was I? No. And one of the things they did at the shower, which I thought was really good, was to play the newlywed game. Have you ever done that at a wedding shower?
No.
No, I confess I've never been to a wedding shower.
Well, the new thing, you will, because the new thing now is to invite the men and the women.
Really?
Yes. And it was actually quite fun. I think they get better gifts that way or something. I don't know. But it was actually quite fun. So they had us play the newlywed game. So it was my wife and me, one of my roommates from college and his wife, and then my daughter and her fiance. And out of 25 points, we got 10. The couple next to us got 15, and they got 20.
Mm.
So what does that tell you after 35 years of marriage?
But who did you end up with?
What do you mean, who did I end up with? I ended up with my wife. What do you mean, who did I end up with?
This wasn't a swinger thing. This was a wedding shower.
It wasn't a swap.
Not a wife-swapping party, hang on.
So anyway, we lost.
It tells you a lot.
No, I've actually thought about it. It was kind of interesting. to see that happen because, I mean, good grief. I mean, you know how it is after you've been married for 50 years like we all have been. Once you think, you can just start thinking something and your wife will say, Amnon, why are you thinking like that? What, I mean, it's almost clairvoyant. And yet you get into and get to some of these silly questions. What was, for example, one of the questions, which I thought the questions were pretty good. One of the questions was, if your wife could sneak any food into bed that she wanted, what would it be? And there were 5 choices. One was potato chips, one was crackers, one was
cookies.
buying a sausage or something, or cookies. What would it be? Well, who the heck knows? I mean, she eats crackers all the time, but she picked potato chips. I mean, she single-handedly causes the Triscuit Company stock price to remain at a credible level. She eats them all the time, and she loves it. She loves crackers and cheese and things like that. But yet, for some reason, what food would you sneak into bed if nobody were looking? Potato chips. I mean, yeah, it makes sense, but I don't care how long you've been married. I mean, who would stop and think about a question like that? And then the real answer is, does it really matter?
No.
I don't know if I could think of another question.
How am I supposed to know? She's sneaking them in.
Yeah, there you go. Well, the crunch would kind of give it away. The other question was, if you could describe your wife, this was the hardest question, as a cartoon character, which cartoon character would it be? And they didn't give you any multiple choices.
Ooh.
Tweety Bird.
Does your wife get to see the answer?
Oh, yeah. In striking distance.
Oop, very difficult.
Did she strike?
I don't know. What do you think? You guys are ignoring the question here.
I said Tweety Bird.
All right. What do you think, Bruce? Steve?
Olive
Wilma from
Popeye.
Flintstones.
Which
Slade.
way did she go? Which way did she go?
Well, the only one that what we did is no one in the room could think of any cartoon characters because we're so old. So we cheated a little bit, and the room was allowed to throw out some names of cartoon characters. I mean, but they did it to both sides equally.
Yeah.
And I picked Superwoman, and that's the one she said. So of all the ones to get right, we got that one right.
Good.
The first one that popped to my mind, unfortunately, was Olive from Popeye.
Oh, that
Which
sounds
would
like
have been
my
a very bad one
brother's
to
first
say.
wife. She looked just like olive oil.
Olive oil.
Mike, what kind of microphone is that you have in front of you?
Audio-Technica AT2020 USB Plus.
The plus is a significant
What does
part.
that cost?
Apparently $169. It's USB only.
Sounds good. Looks good. USB
You can
only.
get an XLR version of it. Keep in mind, it is a condenser microphone. And if you need a condenser, it's a good one. The AT2020 for $99 is a great condenser microphone for the price. But I'm just testing it here to see how it works, and I'll listen back and see if it makes any difference.
Ideally, you need to be in a room that's very, very quiet.
Very quiet.
Talk about listening back. The wire for the headphones on the laptop that I monitor the audio, it's a straight through 1/8 inch, and it was always in the way. So I got me some of these this week. See them, Mike?
Right angles, yep.
Yeah. And works great.
Oh.
I actually have one on my own.
Well, I've got a few of them if you need. You know me, I don't buy one.
No,
They're also
don't buy.
very good to have because if you're constantly plugging in and out, eventually the socket will wear, and you don't really want to replace the socket on the motherboard. So it's much cheaper to replace one of those than it is
Right.
the socket on the motherboard.
Yeah, not to speak about the fact
Mike,
that it was... What?
I got a thing that popped up that says, reminder, your computer's not backed up. Back up your files online today.
What does...
Free computer backup available.
Which program is popping it up? What does it say on it?
It just says reminder, doesn't it say? It's got a
what's on the
shield with an exclamation point in it.
Is it right at the bottom right, or is it in the middle of the screen?
Bottom right. It says JDI Backup Limited.
Never heard of
Sign up wizard. No. I keep turning it off.
It's crapware.
Crapware indeed.
All right, gentlemen, I am ready to back out of here. So
Me too. I got way too much to keep going. So
Thank you, gentlemen, for your time
my,
and energy. I appreciate it all.
Thank
nice
you,
to hear
everybody.
again, Charles.
Nice talking to you, Steve.
I'm glad that
When are you gonna have
Spence
your
got
internet
through
hooked
okay
up?
and he's looking so well.
Charles, Mike is asking when you're going to have your internet in.
Oh, I spoke to them on Friday. They said get the paperwork signed. It should be within 2 weeks.
oh, that's good.
That is good.
Steve, your
All right,
turn.
guys.
Yep.
All
it's ready for my tea. My stomach's starting to rumble.
Ooh.
Have a great week, everybody.
You too.
Same to you, Steve.
All right, everybody. That's it. Bruce, thank you. And if we don't see you next week, have fun playing.
I will.
Mike, I'll talk to you later.
All righty.
And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Donna, Marlene. Thank you for tuning to Computers 2K Now, and we hope that you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook, click the button on the lower left. Tonight, we are going to have Carrie's Psychic Cafe at 8 o'clock. And tomorrow morning at 11, it's The Health In with Debbie Brock. See you then, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Sundays 9 a.m. till noon. Carrie's Psychic Cafe with Carrie Silkowski, Sundays 8 till 9 p.m. Health In with Debbie Bruck, Mondays 11 a.m. till noon. Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Mondays 8 till 9 p.m. One Chic Mama with Mary Michelle, Wednesdays 4 till 5 p.m. Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, Wednesdays 9 till 10 p.m. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by ThatVidBlasterGuy.com, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.